I'd like to show you something.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this,
You have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
Woo! How are you all doing? We have a huge crowd in here tonight. Thank you all for being here early and right away, too. Holy shit. Just like that, we were just a mere weeks ago doing a whole marathon with 007, and then we transitioned right over to some Christmas flicks with freaking Trading Places, and then Gremlins tonight for the 114th episode of Toxic Tuesday. Holy shit, Aroni, Batman. I'm so damn glad we're doing this movie. How are all you amazing people doing tonight? We got a bunch of new faces in here. You must be all coming from Mead, which I thank you for doing, by the way. Thank you. I'm glad you subbed. We're going to give you a great show tonight. We're going to give you a toxic show. We're going to give you a fun show. We're going to give you a homoerotic show on top of that all. So let's acknowledge some great faces. Empress NM, Mecca J, Zachariah 315, Vertical Horizons, Tuna Guy, and FKAT 2005, John Joe, Mehmet Goat. Hello, welcome to the channel. Another guy V, welcome to the channel as well. Darth Viewer, Putin's Cat, Yik Namino, Davina Duckworth, Keely, Chow, Animal Confuser, Brian Barth, Cosmic Vela, Keely, Chow, RJ Godzilla 81, Gonzalo Bergali, commenting is dangerous, Dave C, Inverse Opinion, Das Wolfen, welcome to Toxic Tuesday. All right, let's bring in our dudes here. We'll start off with the guy who's going to balance out the show because that Semis Rock fan will not be here tonight. And, well, we need one man to balance out the homoeroticism of the show. And we know he'll put this one in his butt. How are you, Gerry?
I'm okay. Just, wandering around and found this channel, and I was like, hey, these guys look kind of cool. Maybe I'll hang out with them. I got my new glasses, dude. They're fucking awesome.
They look like almost like a 90s, they look like 90s glasses.
Well, I thought they were going to be more like my original 80s glasses because I've been wearing round glasses since 81 is when I bought my first. I was in high school. Wow. I had just enough money to buy my first John Lennon style glasses, and I've been wearing oval since. Even in the Army, they let me wear my oval glasses because I complained and said the BC glasses they gave me hurt my eyes. And Woo! BC means birth control because when you're wearing those glasses, no woman will have sex with you. But hey, I want to show you this. Look at that. I think Tom will love this one.
Oh,
the ultimate McCready costume.
Oh,
isn't that badass?
Great.
This is my gift to myself this year for Christmas.
That dude, that's very fulfilling. You should feel full and whole with that, dude. That's amazing.
And I'm putting it in my butt later. My new catchphrase, ladies and gentlemen. I want that in my butt.
Gerry, I'm glad you're here.
I am
Are you
too,
ready
dude.
to enjoy Toxic Tuesday tonight?
Hell yeah, Gremlins. I love Gremlins, dude. I love this movie.
Cultural phenomenon.
I had
Let's
some of
bring
the
in
toys
our...
back in the day too, by the way.
Oh, well, do you regret to talk about some of the toys? It could be a bunch of show-offs.
Well, I
And
had
of
the
course,
furry.
our man.
I had the furry Mugwai, and I had the little plastic gremlin that were on my desk. I love those two figures.
I was sorry.
Oh,
guys.
hi, Mark. No,
I was typing in the chat.
I slid
slid
you
me
That
in.
Mark C with
I
the big
slid
D.
you in between us. I slid you in between us.
That's the way
Yes,
I like him when he slides in.
Yeah, so Gerry, you said that no women would have sex with you with those glasses. What about men?
In the army, anything goes, buddy. I used to tell people that being in the military is a lot like prison, just a lot less grapey.
Oh God. But anyway, this
Hi,
movie
Mark.
ruined. This movie ruined Santa Claus. I was expecting a lot.
Yeah,
of
you were
furry
saying that.
little
Did it really?
creatures, yeah.
Did it bother you?
No, I'm joking. I was in
Oh,
high
you're
school.
joking. Okay.
I'm joking. But you could see I was in high school then. But you could see where like moms or dads took their kids to see like these furry little critters. I mean, and hadn't seen the trailer.
I had 6 older siblings. They ruined everything.
They ruined everything, right? But then you end up with a mogwai in the food processor grinder and body parts
Microwave is
everywhere.
my favorite, personally.
So I could see where there's some angry moms or dads in the 80s. But yeah, it's a fun movie. We're gonna have fun talking about this tonight. But damn you, Steven Spielberg. Just
Damn you, Steven Spielberg. All right,
and
Mark.
no
thank
Phoebe
you.
Cates in a bathing suit either. So what's going on?
But we got Tom Connors here, and that's
Tom.
the best thing.
All
We
right.
had Tom and Gerry right next to each other.
You know, I got to tell you, man. I was like laughing today that those kids over there at Zack Snyderville fucking hate you. They're so. I'm serious. I get along with them okay, you know, because there are Zack Snyder films I enjoy. I just don't like the ones that they like.
Don't get me started.
Don't even get me started.
I was here for good reason because Gremlins is one of my favorite films of all time.
Hell yeah.
He's here to enjoy things.
You said you had figures. Did you have the little bendy rubber?
Yes,
gremlin?
I had the. Well, I also had the larger.
Yeah, the big plastic
Spike.
one.
I had Spike.
Stripe.
Stripe.
You said it right the first time.
And I had.
This is a vintage one here. Yeah.
The Mugwai itself.
Gizmo.
Gizmo.
Why is he here? He can't remember the characters' names.
Because I'm old and you're supposed to forgive me for that. I'm Grandpa, the guy that you don't let play with the remote.
I didn't bring all my Gremlins stuff, right? We'd be here all night. I have like fucking 10 shirts and socks and figures. And
on your list of 10 favorite films,
yeah, I was gonna say,
was it on there?
Of all time, this is one of my top 10 films of all time.
Yeah, I thought so. It's not on mine, but it is definitely in the top 20.
Well, I'm glad you could be here, Tom, for it. We're gonna have a nice festive Christmassy Toxic Tuesday. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be huge. Pino says helicopter tours for $2. Says had a feeling Tom would show up early. Knew it. Probably meant to say fucking knew it. Well, you did fucking know it.
Effin.
And
yeah,
yes,
effin knew it.
And yes, we do swear 10 minutes before the stream. I'm not waiting 10 minutes to swear. Fuck that shit. We're gonna swear
already anyway.
Yeah, well, oh, dude, yeah. I already checked. They're already demonetized. So.
I fucked that shit until I got a little piece of corn on the end of my dick. That's why I had the nickname Corny.
Corny. Hi, red shirt.
Just
stop the stream. I want to get off.
I got two observations to make about this movie before we get started. One of them is that I am almost exactly the same age as Phoebe Cates. So eat your heart out, guys. And the second one was back in the 80s and 90s, I had a friend who nicknamed his sister Stripe because of this movie.
Why?
She was the biggest bitch I'd ever encountered.
Oh, I thought she had a streak or something.
No. She was just
like
as evil as Stripe.
Shitty haircut or something. Yeah.
No, it's just personality or lack thereof.
Well, how you
Well,
doing?
Richard, I'm glad you could be here. You can have your way talking about the Phoebe Cates. We could talk about the creatures. We could talk about your guys's. Once again, another movie where I discovered, I think as around 10 or 11, I think 10. You guys obviously, you all saw this shit right away when it came out because I wasn't alive when this movie came out. So I'm glad I get to hear about your guys' experiences.
Wait
of
a
when
minute,
this
you
was
weren't
a new
alive
phenomena.
in the 80s?
I was born in 87.
Oh, well, you were alive in the 80s.
You fucking baby.
I know.
I don't remember
Oh my
Ronald Reagan.
God. I thought you were like maybe 4 or 5 years tops younger than me. 7,
Yeah,
that's almost a
gosh.
decade, man. You're a goddamn baby.
So when I
Are
want
you
to know how
is it
many years
actually legal?
old?
Nick Weiser, is it actually legal for you to have kids?
Yeah, I was wondering if I shouldn't have cupped your balls that
You
time.
gotta
Now I feel like
understand, guys.
I
I'm
kinda
very
crossed the
productive.
line.
I'm very, very productive. I'm very fertile. So
Are you
sometimes
reproductive? That's the word. But here, I'm going to point this out really quick. I have undigested beef in my transcending colon older than you.
I don't know how to follow that one.
Just think
It's
about it for a
So,
minute.
but basically, what you're saying is that you see Jacob Marley's ghost on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Dude,
Nick lived in a world,
was
was born into a world where Top Gun already existed, man.
it already
I know,
existed.
crazy,
There was
isn't it?
already a volleyball scene. Anthrax had put out Among the Living. 1987 was a killer year. It's just,
He wasn't
and
around
I'm
for
sorry,
Blade Runner
D-Bud. I'm sorry, D-Bud
or
had a bad
Ghostbusters.
87. Well,
You
no,
missed
no,
the best
Ghostbusters
fucking
1
years,
was
dude.
84.
You missed the best years of the 80s.
84 is a pretty good year for movies.
82 and 84.
Okay,
the two
I'm not
best
going to
years.
dispute that.
Colin meat.
If I want to know how long ago I graduated high school, I can just ask Nick how old he is and add 1.
Oh, all right. Let's bring in our other dudes here. We have Bruce waiting ever so patiently. He's probably like, "Get me out of the show. I already won."
Yeah, the minute he heard the whole
Whoa.
turd fucking, he was out.
No. Turd fucking as a septic professional, I must let you know we're here. Congrats. 12 minutes, 51 seconds. Congrats, guys. We hit the floor. All right. Well, anyway, I just watched a good movie over the weekend. I don't know if you all have seen it. It's called Escanaba in the Moonlight with Jeff Daniels. Amazing movie. Must watch. Very toxic because it's 4 dudes deer hunting up in the UP of Michigan.
Ooh,
Yes.
sounds like a good time, actually.
It is a great time. It's a great hour and a half. I'll get you a link, brother.
I remember this movie. It came out a while ago, didn't it?
2001. It was a play
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels made, and he put on his own little theater up in Michigan where he's from, and they loved it. So they put it in 30 theaters for like 1 or 2 days, and they had standing room only, basically out the front doors. So it was a good movie, and there's a great quote in there, and I'm applying it to Phoebe Cates, who is my version of the 1980s Brie Larson because she is so fucking forgettable. She's in 2 films I remember. That's it. She's in Gremlins. She's in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. There's other films she's in. I know she shows her
And
tits in a lot of
Gremlins
them.
2. Don't forget that one.
Yeah. Gremlins 2 is a superior film to this, but we'll get into that later. I love this movie, but Phoebe Cates looks like she's got that northern thing going on where she's got that tongue like a trout. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She swallowed the worm. So anyway, Drop Dead Fred. I forgot about that film. I'll have to watch it.
Oh, that's
here
a fun
soon.
movie.
I'll have to watch it again, I guess.
It's got
but-
what's his name from Young Ones.
Really? He was in Young Ones?
Yeah, he was Vivian, not Vivian. Rick. He played Rick.
Okay. Yeah, and then you're all talking about corn, and here I am with my nightly, a little bit of rice, a little bit of pieces.
Oh, that's Randy Marsh. That's Randy Marsh levels of.
Did you get that from Gary's dick?
I'm never eating corn again.
Tito's nipple's asshole.
Thank you for ruining corn for me, Gary.
Oh, you bet, buddy. I'll do it
Fattening
for
anyway.
anybody.
It's very fattening, so thank you.
It's good to have you,
That's
Bruce.
professional. This is safe.
Oh
Justin.
shit! Now I can't have popcorn either. Crap.
How's it going, Dustin? You came in at a good time too.
I'm just sitting back here listening to everybody, and then I'm like, you know what? I just came to get wet and procreate.
We
I thought
haven't
we
even
could
got to
break
the movie. The show's already the gayest show of the year.
Remember that time when we were streaming live and we said stuff? It was gay.
You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Everything that we say is gay, no matter what we mean it to be.
This movie's not that gay.
No, it's
Every
not.
episode of this show could have the subtitle, "Why are you gay?"
You know why you're gay?
Is because you're a dumbass.
A dumbass.
Dumbass. That's us. 9 of us in total, unless there's more
Red
backstage.
Foreman was my dad. I shit you not. That's how my dad acted. He would
Lion, dog, face, pony, soldier.
damn skip me. He'd whack me in the head when I did something stupid.
Oh,
What about a dog face, pony, soldier?
oh no!
Oh God.
Oh
Bye.
no!
Lion, dog, face, pony, soldier. I liked it because I
never gonna
sniffed its
outlive
hair.
Hey, Biden, have you ever tried crack?
Cracking my ass, what?
Oh.
His son's got all the good stuff.
My son knows all about that stuff.
What are you gonna do to get your numbers up, Mr. President? Your poll numbers are very low.
I know my pull hangs a little, but I take these little blue pills, shoot you right back up there.
Hey, did you ever sniff Phoebe Cates' hair?
All the time.
What?
When she was like 12, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Once they get to be about
Oh.
15, that's a little
About 35
past
years
my
ago.
point.
That's a past.
Yeah.
They're past their prime.
That's
Got
past the, yeah, they're no longer right.
Hey, Mark, are you ready to shoot up the
I don't know if I can function right now, but I'm gonna try.
I still do it on a daily basis. I'm not even sure how I get my shoes on in the morning, but
Secret Service, I imagine.
they're like, pants first, sir, pants first.
Pants, underwear, socks, or shoes and socks.
Yeah, they don't even bother with underwear anymore at this point. I mean, I poop my pants by noon, so
oh,
kind of over by
shit.
then.
Oh, damn. Oh.
that's Tom and Andre, isn't it?
Tom is definitely the one with the green hat.
In a Norwegian bar.
In a
Norwegian
bar.
bar.
Bork, bork, bork.
Hi, Des Wolfen. Thanks for being a member for 3 months. Appreciate it.
Okay, so right off the
okay.
bat, here's some trivia.
Yeah. go for
This
it.
was the first time that the Warner Brothers shield had been brought back in, I believe, over a decade, right, Geary?
Yep.
Because we had the Kinney shield, and then we had the worm that
The
everybody
worm.
loves, the fucking worm. And
You and I
Dante
talked
was
about
such a
that before.
Yep, and Dante was such a huge fan of Looney Tunes and the original Warner Brothers logo that he brought it back with the original fanfare. And ever since then, they have had at least some form of the original logo. The exception being Joker was one of the few movies that brought back the worm. So yeah.
Well, that Tom
'Cause they were going for
explains
that
And
why.
then a little
look.
trivia here. That's a Gremlin, AMC Gremlin, I believe.
Yeah, that is an AMC
Yes.
Gremlin. Yes, that is.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, that would explain why Mr. Jones in the bar was played by Chuck Jones,
It was, yes.
who was a
That is
director,
very true.
animation director for Warner Brothers.
Yes. Of course, Joe Dante's a huge Looney Tunes fan, and you can see that influence in this movie and more so in the second film, obviously.
Oh, anything he's ever worked on, dude. Like you go back to the Twilight Zone movie. They
Oh,
even
God,
use
yes.
the
His whole
Looney
thing is a
Tunes
Looney Tunes
music and sound
cartoon.
effects.
Well,
It
of course,
is.
he went on to direct Looney Tunes back in action, of course. And yeah.
Yep.
It's the bathroom buddy. It's the invention of the century. It eliminates.
I love that they got this
heavy
guy. I forget his name, but
Hoyt Axton, who actually
Axton,
wrote
yeah,
several songs
he
for
was a
what
singer.
prolific band?
Oh, I
Could
don't
anybody
remember.
name the band? And not only that, his mother wrote a very famous song as well.
Well, it's not Megadeth, otherwise Nick would know it.
Since
Yeah,
my
I
baby
would
left
know.
me, I found a new place to dwell. Was down
wrote
at the
that?
end of lonely street. Heartbreak. His mama did. You know what he wrote though?
Wow.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Oh,
my
Oh.
God. Was a
Three
good
Dog Night.
friend of mine.
That's
He wrote a
great
bunch of
band.
songs for Three Dog Night and a couple other bands. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Tom, do you feel like this movie is in the same universe as Back to the Future? Yes or no?
It's a very Capra-esque movie. Both films borrow a lot from Capra. And I mean a lot. Like this movie almost feels like, I mean, Kingston Falls is Bedford Falls.
And
right?
you also
I mean, come on. I mean, they even have the movie in the movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. They do. Yeah.
You also have
That's what Joe Dante said is he wanted to do
1955 Lorraine's mom play in this movie as well as the mother for blah, blah,
Yes.
blah.
Well, she played the mom in almost everything in the 80s. If it wasn't Dee Wallace, you had her playing the mom. It's like-
Yeah, there's certain actresses that's all they've ever played is mothers.
You forgot about Dee Wallace in The Howling, didn't you?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, well, also, I'm surprised they didn't get Dee Wallace back for this because Joe Dante also directed The Howling just before this.
So you know how
Oh,
Hoyt
yeah.
Axton got casted to play Frank? Do you know who almost got casted as Frank Peltzer?
No, who?
Rand Peltzer, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, I'm messing.
He's thinking about Frank Gore.
No, no, Mr. Commissioner Gordon from the 1989 Batman.
Oh, that's
Oh,
Casted for- yeah, but apparently he was too good, which doesn't make sense. I think his name is like Pat Hingle or something like that.
Yes.
Pat Hingle.
Hingle.
Yeah, that's Pat
Yeah.
Hingle. Yeah.
He's apparently he gave a great audition, but apparently he didn't get hired because he was too good for the job, which to me is like, what?
He used to play a lot of heavies back then. That's why I'm kind of surprised they even went to him. Like him playing Gordon, I think was one of the few times he played like a good guy. Because usually he was like either a cop or
Did
a
I ever
heavy,
tell you the Pat Hingle story from was The Quick and the Dead?
Not sure.
Because Bruce actually told that story in my car while we were driving from Chicago down to Champaign for a film festival. And it's crazy, dude, that he did a complete fake. Sam was getting annoyed with Pat Hingle because Hingle didn't like his character in the movie, that he was too passive about letting his daughter be a hooker. You know, I should protect her. I should finally to get him to shut up. Sam Raimi shot a fake scene. There was no film in the cameras. He tricked Pat Hingle and into thinking that Bruce Campbell was a villain that was going to rough up his daughter, and then he'd come out and rough him up himself. A completely fake stage scene just to get Pat Hingle to shut the fuck up.
Well, and I seen John Goodman pop up. He would have been a good choice too, but I think he was a little too young because this year he was in Revenge of the Nerds.
I don't remember him in that, but I remember him in.
You don't remember him
Burglar.
in Revenge of the Nerds?
I do not.
He's the coach. He's like
Oh
the
shit,
main.
that's him.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, I got to go back. I haven't watched
you
it. In
forgot to
20 years,
practice.
dude. 30 years.
You're just
30 years.
concentrating on
I
the
was
side
doing
too
When he
much.
gets them all fired up and they're sitting there getting all worked up because they got the hot shit in there. That's my favorite scene with him. He's like, fuck, we forgot to practice.
Were you not here, Geary, when we did Revenge of the Nerds? Were you
No,
not
I wasn't
around
here.
then? Oh,
I wasn't here that
man.
Mr. Futterman.
You
Oh, here's a
would-
Joe
you would've
Dante
been-
regular here.
Yeah, Dick Miller was the shit.
Dick Miller.
I love this guy. One of the greatest B movie actors ever in the history of film.
He ain't some
and
foreign piece of crap you pick
great-
up these days. That's a Kentucky Harvester.
Yeah, they're so
they did a
anti-foreign
documentary.
here. I mean, this is the '80s, so Japanese cars and foreign cars.
Goddamn foreign cars.
Foreign cars were taking over
cars.
the market. The Japanese had bought Rockefeller Center. They're buying everything up.
Told you we should have got a
Economy was going
Zenith.
Crazy. Yeah, Zenith was the last TV made in America, actually.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, I
So
love
trivia.
Mr. Futterman. Mr.
Isn't this also
Futterman
the
is
same town they used for Smallville?
no Back to the Future though. A year later,
Yeah, Back to the Future. I remember that, but I thought they used it in.
I think it burnt
Smallville
down
too.
before Smallville. I'm not even sure if it exists anymore because this was on the Universal backlot. But going back, like there's a bunch of shit we kind of passed over in the beginning of the film, not to get us to get us back up to speed here. I mean, this movie actually took form. Initially, it got started writing in 1982 by Chris Columbus, who you may recognize the name because he's a pretty prolific director now. Went on to direct, a couple of Harry Potter movies and Mrs. Doubtfire, Home Alone. Yeah, he originally worked with, but he worked with Spielberg, and he also co-wrote on The Goonies as well, which is why there's that little joke in there.
For him is Home Alone, because I mean,
he directed that. Yeah, John Hughes wrote it and he directed it. That was his first big directing film. I think he also directed 9 Months with Hugh Grant, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But anyway, that being said, so he was in college at the time, or just out of college or whatever, living in a really shitty attic apartment, and at night he could hear the rats and shit in the walls. So that was kind of like the original inspiration, was like just this idea of these little creatures and whatnot. And it kind of just took kind of form over time. And initially the original script, which is out there, you can find it. It is horrific. It is an R-rated film from top to bottom. Billy is more around the age of like 13, which is actually something that carried over right up until this movie started shooting almost. In fact, I'm almost curious if they weren't initially kind of thinking of Corey Feldman as the lead, and then they were like, well, because once they got Phoebe Cates on board, it seems like that was where they were trying to cast a male lead against her. And
well, they were almost casting Emilio Estevez to be Billy.
Yeah, he was one of the last ones.
Of course they were. That was the 80s. You had to have Emilio.
Yeah,
Estevez.
Half the Brat Pack probably did. But no, Zach just happened to have the best chemistry with Phoebe, even though he was a few years younger than her. But Zach said it was real easy because he already had a crush on her, obviously. I mean, it's fucking Phoebe Cates. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean,
if you were between puberty and 40 years old when this movie was made, you had a crush on Phoebe Cates.
Okay, when I was a kid, I didn't realize this movie was in the 80s. I thought it was a movie in the 90s, and here's why I say I thought it was a movie in the 90s, because I thought Phoebe Cates was, what's that girl's name from the Wonder Years? Danica McKellar?
Danica Patrick.
McKellar.
They're not even remotely close looking, dude.
I thought that I seriously, when I was a kid, I thought that was the same girl. And that was just me as a kid. I
mean, I could see you getting her mixed up with like Christina Ricci or something like that, but I don't know about. I guess I don't see.
Well, Nick's saying he needed glasses as a kid.
Now that's Harry Carey Jr.
I was just going to say that Harry Carey Jr. And that's another thing. Like Dante has a lot of character and Western actors throughout. And I mean, you got what's her face, Polly Holiday.
Well, he's a nerd for movies.
Mrs. Deagle here. I mean, this is just,
she was Flo. That was Flo.
She was Flo, of course. Yep.
I like the dog in this movie.
And I'm trying to remember who plays the president here too. And of course, Judge Reinhold. This was when you couldn't make a movie without Judge Reinhold in it.
There
was a rule there for about 3 years.
I went to high school with him, by the way.
Yeah, you did. You told me a few Judge stories.
Isn't the dog also from Pumpkinhead too? The dog from the
I may have.
I think so.
I think it's
Dante said he was the best actor in the whole movie.
The dog.
Because he actually believed the Gremlins and Gizmo were real. Like he would treat them like they were real.
Growl and bark at him. Yeah, that's
well, he'd go up and he'd just lick and lay down with Gizzy and shit like that. Yeah.
But the guy you're talking about, the president of the bank, that's Edward Andrews. He was a big TV star in the 60s. And 70s.
I was going to say, yeah. And here's Chuck Jones seen here.
Yep.
The old bat never looked better.
There he is. Look at him. I love Chuck Jones.
Dearest asked a little earlier. Sorry, Dearest. For $2 says, hold on. What if that boy is short round skating? I'm not gonna lie. I thought about that because that's when I got into Indiana Jones.
The hat was thrown in there on purpose, I believe, for that very reason, if I'm not mistaken.
When I was getting into Indiana Jones as a kid, I thought, wow, that kid kind of looks like that kid from the Indiana Jones movie. So yes, I thought some people look like a lot of people.
Spielberg would have been shooting that roughly around the same time as this, actually.
Did we pass the fake Indiana Jones poster yet? I can't remember. I'm editing.
I don't think so.
There's a scene with the fake Indiana Jones poster.
Oh, are you talking about the Rock and Ricky Rialto bit? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the Indiana Jones bit on his
that, right?
billboard.
Yeah. And Spielberg's in the end of the movie too, right? And that's
he's in a cameo. Yes,
in the cameo. Yeah.
He
With
has a
the time
great
machine.
cameo. I love his cameo.
Yeah, he's in the time machine and he disappears and everybody's trying to. Or no, there's the time machine and then he's in a different part. The time machine disappears and everybody's trying to figure out where the fuck it went. And then he's got a broken leg because he actually broke his leg, and he's in this like weird
cart thing.
There's Wonderful Life.
Yeah, here's Wonderful Life. But
So,
yeah, no,
Tom,
yeah.
Oh, so obviously this came out the very same day theatrically as the very first Ghostbusters. So did you see these both the same day, or did you find out about Gremlins later? What was the experience?
Honestly,
you were there.
Here's the weird thing. Like, I was actually 4 years old when both of those movies came out, so I did not get to see either of them in the theater, but I did get to see them right away on video. But I remember the summer both those movies came. 84 was a packed fucking year, and this is one of the movies that really got me into movies. This movie scared the ever-loving shit out of me at 4 years old, and it was this movie. It was this movie that my mom, because after about 4 or 5 sleepless nights, she's like, "All right, I can't deal with this shit no more," you know. So she took me down
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, blame Steven Spielberg. So, and it's funny because there's a story about that's that they actually make fun of in the second movie I'll get to later. So my mom took me down to the library, and I've told this story before, so I'll try to keep it quick. We couldn't find a book on the making of Gremlins, but what she did find was this, the making of Star Wars, and somebody sent this to me.
Zooming in on you.
In a PO box, and I damn near cried the day they sent this to me because I had not seen this in years. But this was the book that from this movie got me to where I am today, because it was at that moment I had realized it was kind of, my parents had to basically sit down and made me realize that movies are not real. Okay, you got to understand, like, shit like this, Gizmo looked so fucking real at that time. You guys, I mean, now we look at them and they're a little funny.
Gizmo still looks real to this damn day.
But they did such a great job with these special effects, man. I mean, it was insane. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go along. But yeah, I mean, the fact that 84 is so packed full of movies, and this movie came out at a time, and it was one of those movies when it came out that it almost felt like it always had been there, right? Like we'd always had Gremlins. Like this was just this version of it. We'd had 20 of these before. This is just this, because it's just such an old kind of story to it. And even though this does not even really resemble the original version that I was talking about before, because real quickly what that version was about, Gizmo is actually not even in the story. And he wasn't even in the original script. And we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. But the Mogwai was actually a little shit. And when and Rand brought him home, Billy rejected him because he didn't like him because he was a little asshole. And he kept doing stuff that would piss him off. And eventually, after he multiplied and stuff, they eat the family dog after midnight. And that's how they become Gremlins. And so there is no more Gizmo after that point. Stripe is basically Gizmo in that version. And as I said, Billy's only like 12, 13 in that version. And these drawings that he's doing, he's actually drawing the Goblin Slayer, or the Troll Slayer, I think it was the Troll Slayer. And this is something he's doing throughout the whole first part of the original script, is he wants to be a comic book artist. So he's constantly drawing this troll hunter guy. And it literally kind of is part of his arc, as you see in the original script, because that's where the sword comes in later on too. He was supposed to keep that sword through the rest of the script. And by the end of the script, he resembles his troll hunter character. That's the whole point, right? Like, it's instead of trolls, it's gremlins, but yeah, you know, like he's hacking and slashing at him with the sword and stuff. But anyway, that being said, so like after they eat,
cute of a movie. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's straight up horror. And then after they turn into the gremlins, they kill the mother and roll her head down the fucking stairs when Billy comes home.
Like, oh, great.
Yeah. And then they go out and they destroy, they force a plane to get crashed because they fuck up the controls. Then they go over and they take out a McDonald's, and it's funny because they talk about it on the news, and the news broadcaster brings up how they killed all the patrons and ate them, but didn't touch a single burger. So like all the humor is very dark humor in it. And the end of the movie actually resembles Critters 2 more than it does Gremlins. Because what they find out,
say that it sounds more like Critters.
It does, because what happens is what they find out is that the gremlins don't like to be separated. So they capture one and they put it in the back of their car and they drive out with the gremlins chasing them to this abandoned warehouse or something like that, and they get them all in the warehouse and they blow it up. They think it's over with, and then you realize as you zoom out, there's a gremlin still in their fucking trunk, and you hear the little cackle, and it starts to rain. So it's like this whole thing like it's going to start all over again. That's the original script. Well, then Spielberg got involved, and of course that's where they needed to tame it down a little bit, add a little bit more of a comedic edge to it, and still until just up before production, like literally just before production, the Mogwai were gone after the first 30 minutes of the movie. Like they had only designed the Mogwai to be in the first few parts. They even couldn't get it to walk and do all the things they wanted it to do. So they were already compromising. And they had already
I gotta interrupt. I gotta call bullshit. How much orange juice was in that one arm? It takes like 30 oranges.
About as much blood as Johnny Depp in Freddy Krueger's movie.
No shit. Yeah, like when the bed explodes. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No.
I paused the movie when I got into all this. I should have.
No, that was great. Tangent.
But anyway, so anyway, Spielberg gets involved, and he didn't quite like the look of the Mogwai to begin with because they were all brown initially. So they went and redid the Mogwai. He's like, well, they're already, it's like they're already hair. They already got hair on them. They're done. And one of the producers is like, well, we don't care. Or somebody there, he's like, Spielberg doesn't like the look of him. Let's fucking change him. In fact, he's got like this Cocker Spaniel. Let's make them all look like Cocker Spaniels. So that's why Gizmo looks like that. So they reupholstered all of them, or whatever you want to fucking call it, rehaired them all. And he comes in the next day, sees them or whatever. And actually, it's probably a couple days later, it took him to do this. Comes in his next visit. And he goes, these guys are so adorable. We got to have one survive the whole movie. In fact, we should have a good one. We need a hero one.
Because Gizmo was originally supposed to be Stripe, right?
Yes. So Chris Wallace has like a fucking heart attack because he's like, how the fuck are we going to keep these guys in the whole movie? Or one of them in the whole movie? He's like, they're made just for the scenes we have. Okay, I've got them to basically do what we need them for at this point. I can't make another one now at this last minute. I have no money left, no time, nothing. What am I supposed to do? And all of a sudden this thing hit him, goes, poof, I'll put him in a book bag. And we got the radio controlled one. And he's like, oh shit, yeah, we'll do that. And it's because originally he's like, how can I have, Zach running around with wires going up his fucking leg and shit? That's just not going to work. How he's going to have to be carrying around this Mogwai like a baby and shit. He's trying to figure it all out. And it hit him like just out of a lightning bolt. He's like, I'll put it all in a book bag. I can get enough movement out of that book bag. And they already had the big one that they can do for zoom in shots. So like, we'll just use him for the zoom in shots. We'll just build a big book bag to for the portion we need or whatever. And he all had this in the last minute. And the funny thing is from that little idea, they sold so many fucking book bags with Gizmo on them. It's not even it's crazy. I'm sure most of you had one when you were a kid.
I made fun of people that had them.
Like they were everywhere. Like everybody had one. I had one. Most of my friends in school had one. Regardless,
we were all the cool
started a trend.
So that was kind of part of the thing where they're like, okay, so we got to have Gizmo in the whole movie now. So that kind of changed the whole original idea of the first half of the film now. So
I want to add in there.
Yeah.
Hold on a sec.
Now, did Gizmo take off before the movie
Are you not hearing
out?
Me?
I hear you. Go ahead.
Oh,
go ahead. Speak.
Is that because this is close to something else with Spielberg? Because Spielberg did the same thing with E.T. Remember? The year before. Originally, it was called Dark Skies and it was a horror film. And then
he ended up buying this script because it reminded him of Dark Skies anyway, but yeah.
And he turned it into the film that I hate, but, a beloved cinematic masterpiece about an alien Christ figure. But
Starman?
Originally, Starman, Starman with the finger. Fingering the little boy.
But anyway, you were saying, sorry.
What?
But I just wanted to point out that he did the same thing, the exact same thing. He took something that was meant to be an R-rated horror film and had it turned into something that was family friendly. It would make tons of money and more gimmicky.
Huge amounts.
And that's it. That's all I wanted to add in there because I think it's important. Those two films are related. E.T. and Gremlins.
Then the only other thing that majorly changed was Gizmo became more got added to the end bit more too, where he actually pulls the thing at the end too. Where actually
tell him who does the voice of Gizmo.
Oh, that's Howie Mandel.
Yeah, Bobby's World, man. Dude, I did make that connection early.
And I'm going to shut up for a little bit because I did not mean to take all that time, but it is.
Who was the other?
That was the best
Who's the other big
part.
actor?
Your favorite movies.
That played a Mogwai. Do you remember?
Well, Michael Winslow and Frank
Michael
Welker
Winslow
and
Peter Cullen.
Peter Cullen also did some voice work on it too. Yeah.
Bob Bergman.
Bob Bergman.
Bob Holt. Sheehan. Michael Sheehan. Fred Newman and Mark Dodson. I'm looking at the credits.
Yeah. But Frank Welker actually brought in Howie Mandel, who at that time, had not really. I don't even know if he'd been on St. Elsewhere yet. I think this was just before that, if I'm not mistaken.
Right before that time, I think.
Yeah.
St. Elsewhere was 85, wasn't it?
I think so, because he had just been kind of like a fresh-faced comedian at that time. And he was just looking to do some voice work. And Frank Welker knew him and brought him in. And for those who don't know who Frank Welker is a fucking legend.
He was
the original Freddy from the
third
Scooby-Doo
highest
show.
grossing actor in all of Hollywood.
He was the original Fred from Scooby-Doo, and he went on to voice Scooby too.
And I think he eats
and Scrappy
like fetuses to stay young.
Yes, he consumes unborn babies.
He has to. Have you seen this dude? He's got to be like 90 some plus years old, and he looks like
that dude looks like Baxter Stockman. Oh, seriously, he did look like Baxter.
Yeah, he does kind of look like Baxter Stockman.
He looks like Baxter Stockman.
Gotta keep one of these here and run some tests on him.
So Gonzalo Bergali has been a matter for 3 months. He says practical effects for the win, and I know. I will say, at this point in time, when I first saw Stripe and all the other freaking straight up Gremlins, still to this day, I still think that's one of the most terrifying designs of a creature to this day. Like, I've seen a lot more since then. I still think that is still up there. You look at that, and you're like, that is one ugly motherfucker. The same way when Arnold saw the Predator's faces, that's how I feel when I see those things. Like, you ugly motherfucker. Seriously, they are hideous. But the effects of them are, dude, like I've rewatched this, on DVD and freaking HBO Max, and I'm watching. I'm like, dude, it still looks amazing. See the movements and the sound. It's insane. Like all the scenes look like they're all freaking actually happening, whether it's the caroling or the theater scene, which we'll address later, or the bar scene. There's it's the pool scene. With
if you look close enough, you can see some of the wires and some of the other stuff. But
there's some, but a lot.
90% of them are just Muppets. At the end of the day,
I think
really
the most
are.
fake thing in this film is the flocking. That's the fake snow. It looks like fake snow.
Yeah, that's the worst part of the movie is the snow.
But see, that's part of the charm of the movie, and that's why Dante, for logistic reasons, it was easier to shoot it on set because of the Gremlins. But he also liked that idea because it made it feel Capra-esque that way.
Right.
Okay. Like it makes the world feel like its own little world in that way. But and here's where we get introduced to the idea that Kate hates Christmas.
And
we don't know why.
Horrible story here.
We don't know why.
Yeah, that story is so dark.
It's a dark joke.
A plot line. I bet
it's a dark fucking joke.
Later, dude. And when it happens, it's so freaking left field. Like I'm just like, whoa, because this movie has like the most like G-rated, wholesome elements that wouldn't be out of place on like a children's programming cartoon. And then you have the elements of like the Gremlins looking like the ugliest motherfuckers to the violence. Oh, whoa, what is that look she was giving?
Go back there.
Whoa, go back.
What? She's gonna eat his man meat. What are you talking about?
I looks like she's ready to swallow that worm.
That's some crazy fake.
She was a controversial casting decision because by this time she'd pretty much gotten all of her clothes off in every movie.
Yeah, she already did the nude
film.
scene. Fast Times.
Was it Fast Times she was in? Yeah.
Yeah, she was. He was completely nude in Private School, her first film.
Whatever it was, yeah.
But yeah, she was seen as a pretty risque choice for this character. In
that
movie.
face almost looks like she's saying, "Did you smell my fart?"
Don't you ever walk away after you fart on my tits, young man.
All right.
Is that all you got to say for yourself? Whoopsie.
So what? Okay, So this was one of the first, if not the first movies that hit the PG-13 right, because how it balances the super kid like stuff to the super
Well, it actually
chaotic
caused the
dark.
PG-13 rating.
Oh, it
A lot of people
caused it. Oh,
yeah, okay. So
okay.
for those who don't know, ever since 1975 when Jaws was released, Spielberg got so much shit because he managed to get the MPAA to give him a PG on Jaws. And there was a lot of people who had a pretty valid argument at that time that it probably should have been rated R, but a lot of people also made a pretty valid argument that there wasn't anything in it that quite constituted an R, but it was a bit too hardcore for PG. So for years, Spielberg lobbied for like a PG-13, PG-12, PG-14 type rating, inciting the fact that almost every other country has one already. Why do we not? Right. And for years, it literally took almost 10 years to get this done. And it was two of his movies, this one and Temple of Doom, that finally caused parents to say enough's enough. We were advertised E.T., and we thought we were getting the sequels to Raiders of the Lost Ark. We weren't expecting gruesome creatures killing people, like
also
you were just saying, and
putting their
getting blown
hand
up in a
through a man's
microwave,
chest
and somebody getting
pull
their
out his
heart
heart.
ripped out, and people eating snakes and monkey brains in a PG movie. So
family entertainment.
Yeah, finally the MPAA got their shit together and got a PG-13 rating out there, and the first movie released theatrically with a PG-13 was Red Dawn, but the first movie to actually get the rating was Flamingo Kid, but it was released after Red Dawn. So yeah,
with Matt Dillon,
I
right?
remember Red Dawn
Yes.
came out with that. I remember that very well because it came out in the summertime,
Yep.
and I was like, I don't have any friends that are 13. I was 9.
Yeah, that was the catch. You had to at least have a guardian of the age of 13 or older to go see a movie. So this would be the large gizmo here. So in case you're one, like in this two here, whenever they're close up, they had large, like 2-3 foot long heads.
Now, did
They
they
would
ever
just
like
zoom in
really
on.
abide by that age restriction? Because my mom would just drop us off at the theater and we would watch whatever we wanted.
It's kind of more
I
of a
think it
guideline.
depends on what
but
theater you went to.
Yeah.
Like, I remember. So
they got
I'm
pretty
in an
lax for a
area-
while, and then I remember after which shooting was it in the 90s during Clinton? That was Columbine, right?
Columbine.
Yeah, right after
yeah,
Columbine, they made a
99.
big stink about it, so they started making people actually like get carded and shit. But for
Yeah,
the longest
kids
time,
wore
like
the
you guys are right,
like the
you could generally get into a PG-13 R-rated film no problem, even as a teenager.
For me, it depended on what they are, because I'm in an area where there's about 1, 2, 3, 4 theaters within a half hour, 5 theaters within my range. And at the time when I was seeing R-rated movies before I was of age, I'd say 1 or 2 of them were a lot more loose about it. They would let you in, and there wasn't as much of regulation and police checking on theaters. It
Yeah.
was just hey, these
A
kids
lot of
wanna see
local
this
places,
movie.
if you just had like a parent come in and say, "Yeah, I'm cool with whatever they want to see" or whatever, then they
Yep.
would never.
Oh yeah, and we had that, especially at the main theater that we would go to. That was down the street from where I lived at the time as a kid. Yeah, we were able to get a lot of movies. It was awesome. It was some Florida man.
Hey Mark,
greatness
can you
for
back this up
kids.
just a
Oh,
hair
sure,
back
just not back. Yeah. When we
to
go.
the obviously the body snatchers, because this is one of the only films Joe Dante they
You're
couldn't
next,
get.
yeah.
Well, it's Kevin McCarthy in that movie, of course, and Kevin McCarthy is somebody that Dante always put in his movies, like Dick Miller. But I can't remember what Kevin McCarthy was doing at the time, but he couldn't get him in the film. So instead, of course, it's almost poignant.
Strange Invaders.
Yeah, he was okay. There you go. So he's making another movie at the time.
Hold on, let me go look.
It might have been. I think you're right because I was.
I know he's
84,
also got Kenneth Tobey in this movie. He runs the gas station.
Yeah, but anyway, so Kevin McCarthy's always somebody that Dante would put in his movies, but he couldn't get him in the movie, so he used the clip from Body Snatchers, which is also kind of poignant.
Road Warrior
in the sense of
poster.
that this is kind of a Body Snatchers kind of movie mixed with a monster movie. So yeah.
No,
Now,
it's, yeah, because I could see where you could really confused if you're a parent too. Like you're talking about the PG-13 going to watch this movie. I mean, you see the cute little Gremlins, and if you weren't, there was no internet back then. Of course, you read the newspaper back.
I was
to
gonna
the
say,
movie.
yeah, the older guys probably remember this, but like they advertised this movie like it was another ET.
Yeah,
I bet they did.
It was
Well,
very deceptive.
Very.
I remember that.
This is also the year that they were pushing the violence within like these PG movies, because you had this and Temple of Doom and Ghostbusters Ghostbusters isn't as violent as the
Dang,
three,
dang.
but there are some darkish elements in there. So the 3 top movies of the year, like, are movies that
Yeah.
Well, Nick,
kids can
just so you
enjoy.
understand,
Dark
like they
all
did
three.
not show the Gremlins before the movie came out. They did not show any of the Gremlins at all.
No.
They're
All
trying to
you
get
saw
people.
was all you saw was glimpses of Gizmo. Like
Yep.
they would give you a shot of his eyes close up, the ears poking out of something, his hands sticking out.
cute.
They would not show him.
Whoa.
So they were
Let's get a
teasing you
Happy
like,
Meal.
yeah, they even had the Hardy's Happy Meal. And that was the thing is the 3rd, 4th, and 5th book didn't come out until the fucking movie came out. So nobody knew that these creatures were going to be in this movie until the movie first came out.
No one
Like,
knew
they
they were gonna. Mom was gonna put one in a microwave oven and
Blow
explode
it
it in
up,
front of
yeah,
you.
and stab one.
Right.
Blow that shit up. To quote 24.
Okay.
So you had a lot of people that opening weekend going, "What the fuck? We thought we were getting ET too." Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
They
he was
put
on the
ET in an
TV
oven.
series, Tom. He was on that TV series. Oh crap, Bay City Blues. That was what
What's that?
McCarthy was doing.
oh,
He was one of
McCarthy,
the
okay.
stars.
Anyway,
And to
yeah,
think,
yeah.
with all the
And-
brutality that we got in this movie, apparently it was even more brutal originally because, like, obviously you have the scenes with the mom, Billy's mom, and she's kicking ass, taking names against the creatures. But apparently, I had heard, rumblings that in one scene she even originally got decapitated.
Well, that's what I said earlier about the original script. Yeah, that was the original script.
Man, it was
She
original.
got decapitated when Billy
Yeah,
come home.
160
They roll the
minutes,
head down
yeah.
the stairs and it fucking falls right at his feet. And you hear the gremlins cackling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of kicks it all off. He grabs a sword and yeah.
I didn't notice this until afterwards when he pulls up the frayed wire and goes, "What's going on here?" But the camera cuts to his clock by his bed like 3 times.
Yeah, it does.
While
yeah,
the
yeah.
Because
gremlins,
it's after
while
midnight.
the
yeah.
the Mogwai, yeah, but the Mogwai are eating, and he thinks, oh, it's okay. It's only 11:35, except it's 11:35 3 different times, and then finally he looks at it and realizes, hey, wait a minute, and pulls the cord up, and it's frayed, and it was like it was beautifully done. That he was set up for that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
That was a great scene,
it's
you're
not
right.
accidental. It's not an
Yeah.
accident,
Well,
and it's not
the thing
his
is,
If had
fault.
an Amazon Echo device, then he would have known. What
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Well, they actually tried to
here we go,
shoot.
here we go.
Spielberg
Here's-
coming up. Steven
Here's
Spielberg.
this is the time machine.
Oh, Robbie
one, actually.
Robot.
This
That's
is the
Robbie.
time
Yes.
machine one, and the Robbie Spielberg's in the next one when he tries calling again. I think.
Oh, it's the
And that's
second
actually-
one? I thought
Oh no,
this
that's him.
one.
Or no, that's not him right there. He's in the
No,
next
no,
bit.
no,
yeah.
no. Oh,
No,
He's
that's Spielberg.
riding that thing there, but
That's
yeah, I think
Spielberg.
that's Spielberg there.
That's
yeah.
Spielberg.
The
And that's
TV
actually the
chair
time.
thing. Yeah.
That's the time machine from Time After Time, I believe.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That was a great movie that was out a few years earlier.
But if you
Time-
pay attention in
like-
between shots here, it disappears, and everybody's like looking at a cloud of smoke trying to figure out where it went.
Competition's
the
a little
smoke
more
coming up
advanced than
underneath it there.
expected. Yeah.
You know what I like? What I like is that the cable for the electrical cord is severed, like in so many tales, like Roald Dahl had for the Gremlins book back in the 40s. They would always have the RAF guys talk about how the Gremlins were chewing on power cables and transmission lines and all that, ruining the aircraft. And so that was a big thing back in World War II for the RAF. And Roald Dahl made a book about Gremlins, and
He
that
did.
was where what started the entire impetus outside of the RAF that we have today. And I love that they chewed the cable for the clock. That's
Yeah,
something
Yeah.
that
They were just trying to cover for shitty Lucas Electronics, but just kidding.
Well, don't forget, by the
To
way,
bring some
notorious for the-
darkness.
For the worst electronics in the world.
They
don't
were.
forget that
Great story.
Dick Miller flew B-17s in the movie. He was a
Well,
former pilot.
there's a connection there. See, here's the thing, and I'm glad you brought that up because there is something to that. Because you had the Roald Dahl Gremlins Disney thing that never happened, right?
Yeah, right.
And then you had the Looney Tunes version, where that's where the whole impetus of the modern Gremlin comes from.
Yeah, that
Is that-
cartoon.
The whole World War II thing, where they would, whenever they would
There,
have,
there he is.
yeah,
There's
whenever they would
Steven.
have problems, they would blame
The
it on
cast.
Gremlins. So in the
Right.
in the book, it's really great because there is this little kind of like prologue thing where it's a couple of World War II pilots, and they're like talking to each other, just having mundane conversation, and then like one hears a noise, and then they keep looking and they keep seeing something out of the corner of the eye until the plane goes down, and you hear the cackle of a gremlin as it, you know. You know, so
I've
like it
always
sets
wanted
up
to
this
see
whole
a prequel.
and idea, and that's the thing I was going to say. I always had an idea for Gremlins 3 until Dick Miller passed away, sadly, where
Yeah.
basically it would be this whole thing where these people were going through the old shit at Kingston Falls police department, and they find a bunch of the shit from the Gremlins incident. And so they go back and interview Billy, which leads them to interview the kid who was the grandson of the guy who sold the Mogwai, and then turn into also talk to Dick Miller. And we get like a flashback, well, with a simultaneous story where basically, which they kind of did in this fucking cartoon and screwed it up on HBO Max. But basically where Mr. Wing finds the Mogwai to begin with, and is probably responsible for all the Gremlins in World War II. And that was my story, is that he finds 4 Mogwai, Gizmo and 3 of his brothers and sisters, and he learns all the rules through the 3 that he that aren't with him anymore, if you get the drift. Right.
Yeah, and by the way, the old guy, the old Chinese guy, that's Key Luke, who was originally Charlie Chan's
number one son,
and he would go on to be in Kung Fu.
Didn't he go on to also play Charlie Chan later on as well a couple times?
No Asian actor has ever played Charlie Chan.
He did.
No. That's the thing that's always bothered me, that they should bring it back, but have an actual Chinese actor play him.
Well, what's sad is his last appearance was in Gremlins 2, and he died shortly after he shot those scenes. Yeah. But like there's the time machine, and you saw it fired up there too just before.
Yeah, you can see the smoke coming out from under it.
How did Spielberg break his leg? Was it with Cape Capshaw?
I think it was a skiing accident.
Aggressive Kate Capshaw fucking.
I think it was a skiing accident, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% on that. I can't remember now.
Sure, that's what it was.
He was fucking Kate Capshaw while they were skiing?
Too hard. Wow. Well, they were on that mountain, remember, when they were doing the one bit for Temple of Doom. Maybe that's where it was. I don't know. Somebody will have to look it up. I really don't
remember doing anything.
He was in the Temple of Doom doing her in her Temple of Doom. How fitting.
in the making of, he's like, and I ended up with the girl, not Indiana Jones. Yeah.
He spent a little too much time in the caverns of Capshaw.
But yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, like the whole idea that the Gremlins were in World War II, and Futterman's actually dealt with them before. And then that's where they kind of originated from or whatever. And they get into mechanics, because Gizmo, they leave this out of the movie. It's in, I believe, the novelizations, and I don't know if they shot it or not, but how he got his name Gizmo is, Gremlins destroy things, right? Like they can get into mechanics and electronics and destroy things.
Right. Yep.
The Mogwai are good at fixing things.
Oh.
So on the way home, there was a scene in the original, like I said, in the original book and stuff like that, and probably the original screenplay and whatnot, where Gizmo fixes the bathroom buddy.
Oh, that'd be great. One of the
he goes,
worked.
Yeah, and so he goes, "Oh my gosh,
his name makes sense."
He goes, "You're really good with those little gizmos, aren't you?" And he goes, "That's a good name for you. I'll call you Giz." And that's where the name came from. So that's where he got the name, and it's a really cute little scene. I wish they'd have had it for the movie though, but yeah. I always thought was kind of a cute thing, is that Mogwais can fix things, but Gremlins destroy things. Yeah,
right.
Because there's a whole prologue in the book too, where they actually come from. They're actually exiles from another planet. They come from a solar system with no sun.
What?
Yeah, they come from a solar system with no sun and no water on the planet. And what happened was their planet was dying, so they sent some Mogwais off to find a new planet to live, but they came back as Gremlins.
By the way, it's missing, but if you look on the screen, the time machine's gone.
Yeah,
and they're looking around like,
they're like, where'd it go?
Yeah,
so like, and this is also kind of carried over into the movies. But the Gremlins will not kill a Mogwai. The Mogwai will kill a Gremlin, but the Gremlins will not kill a Mogwai, because it's this paternal thing for them. So that's why they will torture the fuck out of Gizmo, but they will not kill him, if you not notice.
Yeah,
they're not allowed to. It's like this.
Yeah, I wonder.
Because Mogwai, they create more Gremlins. It's just a paternal thing. They just kind of explain it in that sense. It's kind of like this thing. Like they hate them, but they won't kill them. They're not allowed to in their own like nature.
It sounds like Batman and the Joker. I hate you, but I won't kill you.
But it's kind of, but the Mogwai on the other hand will eradicate them. Like that's why they're called Kaka Mogwai. And you can thank Howie Mandel for coming up with the Gizmo language. There's a little Gizmo language he has. If you listen throughout the movie, he calls them the gremlins cockamagwais. He calls the dog woof woof. The car is vroom vroom. He has all these little names for things, and he talks, and he even speaks Japanese or whatever gibberish kind of shit at the end to the old guy too. So he has another language too that he already speaks. So like that's the thing, is the Mogwai are super fucking intelligent. And in fact, there was a version of the script where they were actually manufactured in China too. That's another version of it that almost came to be.
Wow.
Yeah, that was from one of the early. That was from the early draft of the script.
This is one of my favorite shots when they're coming out.
So they were actually a manufactured animal in China that went defective. Yeah.
So if you go based on the movie itself, we've got a universe where time travel is apparently real, as well as space travel, and there's aliens.
Yes. And it goes back to the question you asked earlier, if they're in the same universe, and I say, yeah, they are. But I love that shot of Gizmo hiding in that motorcycle helmet.
Oh yeah, it's
terrified of those things coming out.
He knows what's going to happen. Yeah.
He knows, bro. He knows what happens when you either feed it, because those things took all. Freaking Billy gave him chicken at night, bro. You should, because he thought, oh look, it's not time now. Only to look at, he saw his alarm was disconnected. Now, and I do like the expressions of Gizmo.
Well, just for an example, like those little expressions and shit, those were their own faces. Like they had to take one face off and put it on and stuff. Like, just so you guys understand the complications.
All the work.
This should have been hell to work on that, because it looks damn good.
Gizmo would have like a smiley face, a neutral face, a scared face, a surprised face. The spitting Mogwai had his own like mechanism and thing. Like that's what I was saying when Chris freaked the fuck out, because he only made these things to do what they were made to do for like the scenes they're in, right? And you got to understand, like even the scene where Gizmo's getting his head repaired in the bathroom, there's a whole shit ton of fucking wires underneath that fucking sink, leading to like 14 animator or puppeteers off the stage working Gizmo, right? Like these were very complicated puppets when they were doing those kind of scenes. Now sometimes they're just Muppets, but like the scene where the Gremlins, but now the scene where the original script, he gets a shit ton of fucking syringes stuck in him.
Yes, he got syringed up real good. So for this one, they just put it in his butt. Gary, they put it in his butt in this movie.
Well,
I want that gremlin in my butt.
I guess he really did resent the blood test.
And this scene makes me call bullshit on the Snickers commercial that came out a few years back with the gremlin, because clearly that gremlin was not satisfied with that Snickers.
Yeah,
that's right.
He needs some mad meat.
Oh, this is where he sees the gremlins for the first time.
Yeah.
Dude. I have a question. Oh, do the kids in that class all get an A for biology? What happens if your teacher gets eaten by a gremlin? I mean,
yeah, it's like a suicide in oops, I said a bad word. Sorry. In college, if your roommate dies, you get an automatic pass. They made a whole movie about that too, a comedy.
Real quickly, I just want to acknowledge
that killing Mr. Tingle or whatever.
Yeah, guys, but wait a minute. But when your teacher goes, you get a substitute teacher.
Don't. By the way, there's another big actor in this movie.
Oh wait, Nick's
that
got
has
something.
A bit part. Tom, do you remember Jonathan Banks in this as the deputy?
Yes, but Nick wanted to get to this here.
I just want to say really quickly, this is literally the hugest Toxic Tuesday chat we've ever had. Ever.
Wow.
Like in the history of ever. So you guys came out long, hard, and strong.
I got him to come out for my Gremlins love, evidently.
Dude,
I don't know.
I'm glad you got him to come.
Thank you.
I thank you, Tom. I thank you. Thank you. And
you know what? We could hear them come.
Oh! And speaking of, we got Nick the Greek for $4.99 says, midnight rule stupid. Technically, it's always after midnight. Though they should make a clarification. Central, Eastern.
See, in my version for part 3,
Pacific.
I actually clarify they scientifically figure it out. It's from noon to noon, basically, depending on the position of the sun.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, like, isn't everything after 12 midnight?
That's what I love in the sequel where they got the guy who's actually doing that shit too. He's like,
it still doesn't make sense. It
still
doesn't make
on my
sense. I could see noon to midnight you can feed them. Midnight to noon you can't.
Well, I was
or
being the
or
opposite.
they should have made it like sunset,
Midnight
like
to
a
noon you
vampire
can't, is what I
sunset,
was
or
saying,
sunset,
Right.
sunset to sunrise. But I do have
What
a
I was
that
saying
would
is
be-
like goes with
yeah.
the sun and moon phase, basically, by what I was
Got it.
talking about. Because yeah.
but
So
I do
like
have a
from noon
special,
to midnight, they're okay. Basically,
I do have a special treat for everyone who's in wow, we got a ton of viewers here. So I mean, although
thank
we
you
were
for
denied
being here, folks.
We were denied Phoebe Cates in a bikini, but we have a special appearance by our favorite buddy who couldn't be here tonight.
Oh, is it bad?
Oh, we missed one of the magic shots of the movie. The gremlin that I was
I'll go
talking
back.
about. Okay, this was the hero gremlin back here. Okay, so they only had one of these. Okay, so like that one you see there, that's just probably a puppet, for
This
instance.
is one of my favorite
Like a
scenes
Muppet.
in the entire movie.
But this one is a full-on animatronic gremlin that costs like $10,000+ to build. So anytime you see, so they just would switch it out for Stripe or whatever when they would do it.
Okay.
So like whenever you see like these more elaborate shots of the gremlins, that's what
the
these
motion.
are. Yeah.
Okay, Tom, whenever they would wrap up filming for the day, everybody leaving set would have to get their bags inspected, their trunk, their car, all that shit inspected.
Yep.
If those Mogwai with the gremlins with all the wires, not 10K, try 30 to 40,000 in 1984.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might have been more than that. I couldn't remember the exact cost.
Good
but yeah,
thing
it
Tom
quite a
wasn't
bit.
on this set because he would have smuggled one out. Just kidding.
Oh god.
Figure out a way.
Tom was the security guard.
Well, Robert Meyer Burnett told me about the story where they used to have the warehouse full of the gremlins from Gremlins 2. And he used to show people and he got in trouble for it because there was like a couple $1 million worth of gremlins in that warehouse.
Oh,
I guess.
wow.
Wow. Can you imagine being one of the ones who actually got a hold of one of those? Like,
Well, a bunch of the RLM guys bought a bunch of that stuff when they finally put it up for auction. But yeah, sad part is a lot of it was deteriorating because they didn't take care of it.
Yeah, it falls apart.
Stuff from the
I love
first film is mostly gone. There's a few things out there still, but it's really hard to find.
But I love how the mom goes Sarah Connor here. I mean, and
she went Sarah Connor before
Ripley.
Sarah Connor. Because her name is Lynn Peltzer. Lynn Peltzer.
Well, thank
She
God her
comes with a
husband's
knife.
fucking invention works here for once.
Yeah, right. 800 inventions that go wrong.
They should have
she
threw that
finally-
in afterwards. That would have been like, thank God it finally fucking worked.
She should say that would have been the best closing line after she killed off this thing. Hey, so like if she said finally something that works, oh man, that would have been fucking hilarious. But yeah, dude,
I love the
kicks
Peltzer.
ass.
I love the Peltzer logo. It's like a light bulb that goes into the P.
yeah.
I'll have to watch. I'll have to dig. For
Lawrence
that
obviously
stream.
never saw this movie too, I guess, right?
Who? Say that again, Mark.
Jennifer Lawrence never saw this movie, I'm sure too, right? Because this action hero.
Well, no, she was already in this movie. We just didn't notice her the entire time. Jennifer Lawrence is always in this movie.
She's
Mark,
inside of
come
one of the
on.
Gremlins.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, she's
not
inside
that gremlin.
Gizmo.
Oi.
But you
Oi,
guys know
oi,
I talked
oi.
about the Hardy's books that came out. What those were like 5 books. They would come out each week in like a Happy Meal deal. They had a record. Well, they never did a comic book adaptation here in the U.S., which is at that time was a rarity. Like they usually did them, so it was
It's
rare that this
weird
movie didn't get one.
considering
But it
how
did in
many
the
comics
UK.
were in this movie.
It did get one in the UK, actually from Marvel.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah, just so you guys know, Gremlins is Tom's version of my Blade Runner because
Yes.
that's why he just.
Oh, we'll
knows
be here all
so
night.
damn
If
much.
I didn't even bring that much shit to show because otherwise we'd be here all night.
Show and tell. Oh, you should then show and tell.
There you go,
I
Gary.
would-
Waiting and willing for you.
I would love for you.
I'm a
to
little
show
hungry. I'll
us
be
and
right back,
tell us.
guys.
Oh, that means he's gonna come. All
Oh
right,
no!
perfect.
Oh no! Now he's going to
So-
become a gremlin. Oh no!
All right. So
Red Ball was
JT Gunn for $2 says love the Gremlin facts from Tom. Yeah, Tom is laying down the pipe here with all this knowledge. I love it. And JT has also been a member for 1 month. Thank you. And he also gifted a huge membership for Yeknomino, who became a huge member. Thank you, JT, for helping Yeknomino become
Stripe
a
hates this scene.
huge member. Stripe. I'm so glad that they actually made the change of having Gizmo and Stripe becoming arch rivals, basically, because the idea of it's a perfect hero villain dynamic. Batman to his Joker. Oh, dude, that is one hideous bitch.
Look at that.
Don't get me wrong, it looks good, but that is an ugly.
They could have done better
hand?
on his.
Where's your hand right now, Tom?
Oh,
Not up, not up the butt like you prefer it, Gary.
No.
Yeah. I was hoping.
Put it in. Did you put it in? You put it in its mouth. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put it in its mouth. Or the back of its mouth.
Mouth.
Yeah, bro. You are.
That's awesome, Tom.
Wow. That is fucking crazy.
I feel pretty. I so pretty.
Oh yes, he should be on the Con Connection.
Yes.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Oh my god.
By the way, Nick, I talked to Cotton this week. I'm going to be on his show soon to talk about Vindicated.
Ooh, dude, yeah, I like that. You know what? We got to try to try to talk about getting you also on maybe someone like Irene. You'd be great on her. She does a showcase.
I love her show. I've been on there one time with Keith, and I messaged her, but I don't know if she even reads messages.
Let's try it again. Just go public with going, hey, yo,
bitch, why ain't you talking to me? No.
Thank you, Mark. I do appreciate that for that. So we got Gonzalo Bergali, and he comes in with $30 Uruguayan pesos.
Emo
Thank
Stripe.
you, Mark. And then it says that's Emo Stripe, Tom. Thank you, Gonzalo. I do appreciate your generosity. Thank you. Oh yeah.
What are we gonna pay for that one? You gotta play him a clip.
Oh, we'll give him a clip, all right. We're gonna give him a clip.
She is going with that knife, man. She ain't messing around.
Dude, come on.
Huge.
Oh, and then Nick the Greek for $1.99 says, Tom, is your ideal woman the Lady Gremlin from 2? Oh my god.
Greta,
thank you, Nick the Greek.
Oh, she is a redhead, isn't she?
You couldn't put your fists in the back of her head and only come up her mouth. So I don't know if that would work as good. That'd be awkward. Be like, hey, you have 4 holes. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. You don't need that in your life, Tom. Yeah, this creature is a fucking brutal, man. I'm looking at these things and I'm like, damn. I actually thought this scene she was actually gonna die because she set up in position to die. Like she got the good amount of kills in. She had the good fight. She fought the good fight. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of like how a lot of heroes go down. They fought the good fight until it wasn't enough. And nope, luckily, good old Billy got home, Ed. Yeah, I thought she was donezo. Man, this really interrupted Billy's date. He was supposed to get on a date with.
I thought he was going to get some there.
Yeah, he was giving her the look, and then she gave him that really weird look that we saw earlier that we noticed, which I've never noticed my entire life. Once we had Toxic Tuesday,
he thinks I'm still a virgin.
If she's a virgin, it's Virgin Airlines because everybody's ridden her.
Everybody's in her.
Toxic Tuesday will make you see things you never see, even from movies you've seen 800 times.
Or never want to see again.
Yeah,
Oh.
we like to talk about setup and payoff. They set up this sword move he pulls to save Mom Grip beautifully, where it falls off the wall when he first comes in, and he has to put it back.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
So
Foreshadowing
they
is so important.
they point your attention to the swords next to the door early in the movie, so you know when he comes in, you know what he's gonna grab, one of the swords. I
And
thought
we
that
were
was
watching
great.
this last
I mean,
night. And Shannon was like, of course it's the 80s and there are swords on the wall.
Hey, did any of you guys
We're
like
all
his
playing
didn't
Dungeons and
everybody
Dragons.
have didn't everybody have swords on the wall next to their front door in the 80s? I mean, we
Yes.
did.
Yeah, everybody.
Of course.
It's no such thing as not having it. But did anybody else see his other movie, Waxworks?
No.
Zach Galligan? I love that movie.
Waxworks. I
Yeah?
think I've seen that. Is that like a horror kind of all the crazy creatures and
Yeah, you
All the
get
different
trapped if you
settings.
walk into the museum at night and go into the
Yeah.
display, and you get sucked into that world.
I
The
saw it a
portals.
long time ago. Yeah.
Love that movie, dude. I always felt bad for him because he just didn't have a career.
I read this comment really wrong and badly because, of course, I did. There are many cross swords in the 80s.
Look at Robbie with this fucking hat on. That is so cool. And he's on the phone. He's calling somebody. Who is he calling?
Thick and heavy. I don't know,
I
but it's thick and
rarely
heavy.
use it
whatever you call
myself,
it.
sir. It promotes rust.
Dude, these comments are really gay. Thick and heavy, would 60 gallons be sufficient? I rarely use it myself. It promotes rust. Out of context, this all sounds really bad.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
Until the
I love
Gremlins
what-
show up.
But the coloring in the scene is glorious at the YMCA. I love the way
Well,
the colors
if you look at Joe Dante's films, he uses cookie cutters in a way nobody uses them in his lighting to draw focus to
What do
things.
you mean cookie cutters?
That
I
they're called
understand
cookie
that.
cutters. They're pieces of wood cut in shapes to put in front of lights so the light goes to
Oh.
certain areas.
Okay.
And see how it's look at how he lit the pool room here using
Dude,
cookie
that
cutters.
party's turning up. That party's turning up.
Oh, this is
I'd
crazy.
attend that. I'd attend all that. Look,
I
at
would
look
not
like
want to be at
green.
that pool when those gremlins come out.
What if they ended up at your butt though?
Well, that's different.
You
That's
pinch your leg.
kind of like it's the gremlin version of gerbling.
Do you scream out Armageddon as your safe word?
I wonder when you say that, it makes me think, did somebody try to get a hold of Richard Gere about doing that?
The problem is when you hear Armageddon it in return,
Oh,
then you're in trouble.
Here's Banks scene. Here's Banks scene. There he is. There he is. There's Jonathan Banks, man.
Yes. Whoo, man. So is it true that this movie's originally supposed to release around Christmas time the prior
No.
year, or no? Because I've heard that, but then it got moved to the summer, and there's been
No, it was
I've
always
heard
meant to be a
mixed-
summer picture.
always meant to be a summer picture.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have done even more so if they did go with it being
But-
a movie.
I mean, as far as like the movie living on as a Christmas film, I mean, that's not a bad thing for a movie to have.
It's not,
I
but
mean-
we talked about it the other day, Tom, and we kind of came to an understanding. It was Martin and I, and we came to this understanding that it's a Christmas movie that if you remove the Christmas element of the film, it alters the film in
Yes,
a way that
that's usually
it
my
does.
that is basically my what do you call it, barometer or whatever for a Christmas movie or not, because I've said
Yeah.
that before. Like Die Hard, Gremlins, they fall apart if you take Christmas out of the movie. But
Yep.
like things like Lethal Weapon, it's a little bit more less so, and a couple
Lethal
other movies.
Weapon, it could have taken place anytime.
But there's a
It's
lot
cool.
of movies that are considered
It's
Christmas
cool
movies
that
that have
it's
been
Christmas
released at
movie,
many different times of
But
the
it
year.
doesn't have
Yeah.
to be, because if you remove
Yeah.
the Christmas from it, it still works.
Wasn't Die Hard in July?
Oh yeah, all the Die Hard movies were in the summer.
Released in July.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and I mean, even
Here-
like It's a Wonderful Life was released in like January.
yeah, Gary
Miracle on
brings up a
34th Street was released in August.
Wow, that was in August. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Hold on, are you talking the remake or the original?
The original.
The original.
The original. Okay.
The original came out
I
in
did
August.
not know that about the original. Okay, that is.
So
I
what were you
just,
going to say, Nick?
you know, you made up a good point that if you take out the Christmas element of this movie, that it really does play differently. That is really true. That to me is what helps make
Well,
it.
there's a
That's what
big
makes it a
element of
Christmas
Christmas in the movie. First of all, I mean, it's a gift. And it's
Yes,
really
a
kind of
gift.
commenting on the consumerism of the time in a way, like it's literally the gift that consumes the town. Right.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you got to think of when this movie came out. This was just on the cusp of like not just Reagan, but yeah, like that era. But you had like the Cabbage
Well, the
Patch
Nixon
trays
poster on the
and
wall. Did you see that?
all that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
he had the Nixon photo. Yeah, I saw
but
that.
you also had the Cold War scare still going on, and among so many other, like this movie has a lot of layers to it that, I mean, I've broken it down many a times. And I'm sure
do you
some people
think
are
he
like,
died?
dude, it's
Well,
fucking
yeah, 'cause-
Gremlins, not Citizen Kane. But yeah.
Yeah, but
I've
you're
always
coming out of
assumed
it.
he died in the movie.
At the
Futterman.
end of the
he
movie,
died.
he's actually in the news broadcast, if you're listening.
Oh, he's there. Yeah. They
so
said
he
they
did
lived
They
there.
survive.
actually
then.
survive, yeah.
Oh,
Good,
that's
good.
good because I loved his character, and I am, by the way, a huge Dick Miller fan, a big Dick fan. I love Dick,
You like the
and
big D?
he has a great documentary made about him called "You Don't Know Dick," and I think
So-
it's still available on Amazon. If you've never
So
seen it,
tell
go
me-
find it.
Tell me, Gary, is Dick the shit?
Well, I got to tell you, I want Dick in my butt.
Well, anyway, I was gonna say that coming out of the 70s.
Oh, did that disturb you, Mark?
No, it didn't. You know, I just try to keep
Not
anything
coming out of
so
your
used to
mouth
it now.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah. But I was gonna say, coming out of the 70s, it was pretty depressing times. I mean, you know, Carter, the hostage crisis, the hostages.
Oh, yeah.
held in Iran for 444 days, inflation. So Reagan came in and promised a new
Christmas
dawn
was
in
becoming
America.
very commercial as well.
Yeah.
That was the other thing.
But the
Yeah,
economy
yeah.
had started to take off in about 83, 84, and that's what Reagan won
Mm.
re-election. You know, Mondale, they
Yep.
said he let him win one state, his home state, Michigan. I mean, Reagan could have won that if he wanted to, but yeah,
Oh,
so the
there's
economy is
another-
flying and everything is
There's
taking
another
off.
actor right there. I forget his name. He's been in a lot of Joe Dante stuff.
Yeah, he plays a reverend here. Yeah, I think he plays I'm trying to remember if he plays a reverend in another movie or not, but I'm not sure.
Oh, what is his name? I gotta look it up real quick because I love that guy, man.
Because the reporter that's also at the end is playing the same character as the Howling as well.
Yes, Jim McCrell.
Yeah.
Same actor. Yeah, he got a southern accent, and then he goes, "Tonight on the news." He loses the accent.
We're
I
getting
love
wide reports of little green men.
that. What is that
How do you
actor's-
feel if how different this would have been if Burton did direct this? Because I'm actually glad he didn't. I mean, I could see why he would, but I'm actually
Yeah, I'm not a
glad
fan
he
of
didn't.
Tim Burton, by the way.
I don't know.
So-
I actually don't mind him at all. I do like his work. I just feel like Joe Dante was a better fit for this. I really feel like he was a better fit.
It would have
I
been
feel
too quirky and weird.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, I think he would have made the ugly looking Gremlins a little less scary because he tends to take dark, ugly things, but kind of add a little funnish element to them. And then they come off not as intimidating, whereas I felt Joe Dante just had them go all the way with it, being like, yeah, there are scenes where they are being funny, but they were
I
trying to
disagree
be
with all the
funny.
way.
Oh, okay. Well, what are your thoughts?
Well, this movie doesn't go all the way on it. That happens in the sequel, but Joe Dante goes as far as he thinks he can take it without getting into territory where this movie's going to get boycotted. Because he really wanted to go further, and we got to see that in 1990. I think
Yes,
this
for the
movie,
sequel.
yeah, for the sequel. This movie here, I think Dante wanted to take it into unfamiliar territory, and that's why this movie is so unconventional. That's why we have the greatest Christmas story ever told by Phoebe Cates as she fucking recites the litany of her father's demise.
That's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
I mean, this is the greatest Christmas movie. If you want to completely give your kid PTSD, let that little shit watch this movie 3 foot away from the screen and say, "Don't you dare move from the TV. Your popcorn's there, your piss jug's
Don't
there,
turn your
your
head."
water's there. You are staying in front of the TV and watching this entire film. Everything in this movie's true. It happened." And make
And
him
by the
have that
way,
happen. Oh God.
you were gonna say something about Phoebe Cates. Remember the parody of it in the next film of being Lincoln's birthday, right?
Yes.
That was crazy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
This is actually
That's
there's some cut bits here.
I love this.
There wasn't a lot cut as far as story. The only other thing that was cut as far as story was Mrs. Deagle's background stuff.
Yeah.
And it actually makes the movie a lot more like A Wonderful Life, because if you find out, she's buying up the town.
Just like the old man was in
Otter was in Wonderful Life, exactly. And so there's that kind of backdrop, and that's the whole thing of why it's like everybody's talking about paying rent and stuff to Mrs. Deagle, because she owns like everything.
Did they say their husband had died in this or something? Or
yes.
There's an offline.
And it's funny because her husband in a picture here above is actually a dead actor that they got the rights to from his estate. So like her in movie actor husband is like in this. Yeah, it's like at the top of the stairs here when she hits it as she goes up. That's like a real actor.
That's awesome.
That's supposed to be her husband in the movie. But like, yeah, so there's this whole like storyline that was cut where Billy and Kate discover what she's up to. And so that's why Kate's like all like
they Scooby-Dooed it. Okay.
Yeah, she's all like that's where her whole thing
there
about
he is. Yeah,
right there he is.
Yep.
Yeah,
there he is.
He's actually
Donald
dead in
Eagle.
real life too.
Yeah. I can't remember the actor's name, but yeah.
The actor's name was passed. Yeah.
Klaus Schwab's mother.
So there was that part, but the other thing that was cut out quite a bit was a lot of the Gremlins stuff, believe it or not. Like there was a scene before this. This is why she comes out with the water. Is there's carolers that she chases off. So when she comes back out, it's the Gremlins instead. That's why she's got the water and she's like, I warned you, brats. If you catch what she's saying. And they're wearing, you should see these fuckers attacked the other carolers and stole their clothes.
I know.
So what happened is there was so much Gremlin stuff in the middle part of the movie that the studio's like, it's just too much. There's just too much. So they kept making him go back and cut it down. Finally, Dante threw his arms up in the air and he goes, you might as well just call the fucking movie People.
Yep.
I had heard about that title. I'm like, why? Why do you call it People?
Because there's no Gremlins in it anymore. He's like, they cut out all the fucking Gremlins. He's like, what the hell?
That's why part 2 is so much better, in my opinion.
Yes, and that's why there's so many. He's like, I'm putting so many fucking Gremlins in here.
You can't remove them. They're in every scene.
I love this. That's Frank Morris. He does Santa every year. Yeah, but with that stuff he's got all over him. I really think you should start the car, Frank. We should really go now.
There's no director's cut of Gremlins, sadly.
No, there's a few deleted scenes on the DVD, but I would love to just see all the Gremlins outtakes that never made it.
They could go back to his original notes.
Because the way they shot this is they shot all the people stuff first, right? Like, so all the stuff with just some of the puppets whenever needed. And then whenever all that stuff was done, before they'd clear a set, they'd go in and film all the Gremlin stuff.
Right.
So second unit and whatever would handle a lot of that kind of stuff. The most elaborate bit, of course, is coming up here, and that is the bar scene. So they literally shot in the bar for like 2 weeks or whatever it was. They said by the time they got to like the 4th, 5th day at the bar, that mold was growing on everything and it stank to high heaven. And these poor guys who were down in these like gullets or whatever you want to call them, like trenches.
That's puppeteering, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They're like stepping in like gooey fucking beer and other shit. Like, and it stank just real bad. Cause like they were using real food and beer and shit.
So it was really trashed by Gremlins.
Yes.
Nobody cleaned it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, they didn't want to fuck it up for continuity, so they couldn't, and they didn't really stop to think. Well, I think initially they only planned on shooting for a couple days, but this was one of those things where, like I said, they pushed everything Gremlins off as far as they could, so they could spend as much time on the Gremlins and not worry about the actors. So Phoebe Cates was the only actor who had to stay past everybody else. They shot that scene way after everything else. The theater scene and everything else had already been shot.
Long nights. Apparently
well, that was the longest part because, that was just her and the Gremlins. So you had her and just tons and tons of people puppeteering Gremlins and everything, just shooting long
Lucky
nights.
Gremlins.
Yeah. So like she had to stay longer than everybody else. So that's why she got paid more, I think, than Zach did on top of it all. But she made the deal first too.
I heard
But you know,
reports that sometimes even the crew members were falling asleep on set because of how long some of the days and nights were on set.
Well, that's because they had to film all the Gremlins stuff, like I said, after the fact. So they were just trying to get it all done and get it because they had to shoot and get it out by what was it, June 16th. So they had a date set. Yeah, this was not a normal thing in Hollywood. This is when they first started doing the shit like post Star Wars and shit. It was like, we gotta have a summer movie, and they had a set date, and it's like, you gotta hit this date. So like they had to rush this movie on top of it all. That was the other thing. Ghostbusters has suffered from the same problem. Yeah.
And Tom, this reminds me, actually, I was just watching the making of Monty Python's Meaning of Life, and they did the Mr. Creosote scene with his vomit. And of course, that was like vegetable soup. The problem is they had to shoot it over several days. By the time they were done, the vegetable soup was going rotten.
Ew,
Same thing. It was absolutely, and one of the guys, one of the Pythons said, and all of the extras wanted to be in the final scene where Mr. Creosote explodes. And he said, I can't imagine why they wanted to, because that stuff smelled so bad by the time we got to film the final scene. I'm just like,
I can't imagine.
Yeah, this is the when they talk about Hollywood magic. Yeah, imagine being spattered with rotten minestrone soup, and that's Hollywood magic.
There's
I'm gonna
one
sound
worse
like a
than that.
weird. I'm gonna sound like I don't know if you'd say I'm being a contrarian, but I'm kind of glad that they went with all this, despite cryptic stenches and all, because it really makes you feel like a lot of these things are there and all part of the movie, because everything nowadays is in studios and on overloads of green screens. It makes it feel like nothing
This is a
around
set,
the
but
world is. Yeah, obviously these are actual sets, but that's the thing. Like, people walk on
this is
actual
my favorite
ground.
bit of the whole movie, though.
Oh, dude. Well, apparently Phoebe Cates was actually really terrified of doing this thing. Apparently she had legitimate fear
I just
doing
love
this
all
thing.
the Gremlins bits.
Oh no, it's
Because
funny,
Joe
but-
Dante found out that they got funnier the more clothes and shit you put on them too. So that's what they discovered in this scene here. So that's why you start getting through it.
It's true.
You get through it. It starts, they're all just like regular like this, and then you get going into it, and you get ones that are dressed like gangsters and ones that are dressed like girls and everything. They just went nuts because then plus he's like, you get these guys that are in there for like 4 or 5 days. After a while, you get a little punchy too. You know, of course, somebody came up with a flash of gremlin
because there's no necessity for male-female procreation. Technically, the female in Gremlins 2 is just another gremlin. It doesn't
just a novelty more than anything.
Yeah, it's more
She does.
Yeah, that was definitely mad. That was mad.
What game are they playing there?
Hey,
I
Tron.
laughed so hard at.
Oh no,
the
Star
Flasher.
Wars. Is that Star Wars?
Yes, it's Star Wars. The Vector Star Wars.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Vector
that's
game.
Star
I
Wars
love
arcade
that game,
game.
dude.
That sucked a lot of quarters out of my,
You
not
know,
out of my butt, out of my pockets.
and it went straight into my butt.
I like the one.
Well,
that
I didn't
where-
put him there.
I like that Stripe shoots the one that's fucking cheating here. 'Cause they're-
Yeah, they're cheating.
And they kind of look like chimpanzees here too.
Well,
with
there's
the
a
clothes
reason
on.
for that, actually, Gary. It's funny you mentioned that because the initial design was based. Okay, the heads are based on because Chris Wallace was kind of given free reign to design them. They kind of had a rough idea, but if you look at a lot of the early storyboards, the early stuff, they look a lot like the Gremlins from the Looney Tunes cartoon and Roald Dahl's Gremlins. But they knew what they wanted. They knew they wanted a creature. Well, originally they still had hair on them and stuff. Like, no, get rid of the hair. And they were much shorter. But then Chris Wallace has convincingly said, look, if you make them just a little bit bigger, there's some more things we can do with them. And he's like, we might even be able to get like a chimpanzee or an ape in one of these as a costume. And so that's why they were designed with the idea in mind that they could put one of these costumes on some monkeys or apes, I mean.
Kind of like
But what happened was
Galactica. Yeah.
What happened was the moment they put the ape in the costume, the motherfucker freaked the fuck out and tried ripping the head off. So they're like, well, this ain't gonna fucking work.
This movie turned into Nope real fucking quick, didn't it?
Yeah, that brought that to a quick end. But that's initially where the basic body design was, why it was designed that way, because they were like, look, we might be able to get some apes in here to get them to do some full body running and stuff like that. And then the ears, that was part of the idea. In the face, they're very much based on the idea of a bat, because they're like, well, they're creatures that come out at night, so they got to have good ears and what have you and all that kind of stuff. And what's funny is you look, Chris Walas has a very distinct design. You look at the Gremlins, look at Slimer, look at the dragon and Dragon Slayer, and look at the creature from Tales from the Crypt. He designed all of those, and you'll see a very similar through line in his design. And yeah, like Gremlins is one of his coolest designs, but they all look very similar.
The dragons in
like look at a gremlin from the side. The profile of a gremlin looks just like the fucking dragon from Dragon Slayer.
Yeah,
Slimer has a gremlin nose.
It does look like Vermithrax.
Yeah, they're great
for real.
Man, I had a version, man. I wish we even had a. The best part is it's really weird because in my version they had a daughter, which is weird that they made that Mountain Dew commercial with a daughter. But while they're off doing stuff with the scientists and figuring out all this shit about the Gremlins, she's babysitting Gizmo and gets him wet, and that sets a whole nother thing off at the same time in the movie. But only this time, because notice you had Stripe the first time. Then you had Mohawk the second time, which was kind of bigger and badder. So this is the third generation. Now you get a king gremlin. So the king gremlin would literally have like a crown of horns. But what the stupid scientists were doing, they were trying to figure out what the fuck the goop was, and through all the gremlin shit, they brought Stripe. They DNA cloned Stripe. So you literally have Stripe and the king gremlin fighting for supremacy over the horde of gremlins in the movie too. So yeah, two factions of gremlins that are kind of fighting each other too, which is kind of another point in my script. It was huge. It was epic and it was weird. And it was flashbacks. And the funny thing was, it started off like Mrs. Doubtfire.
What
I mean is you literally get like a Saturday morning cartoon of the adventures of Gizmo. And Gizmo is like this, just, he's having his own little adventures in this animated cartoon. And you would zoom out and Howie Mandel's doing the voice. And then you zoom out even farther. And in the booth, you would see Zach Galligan as Billy and a bunch of other people. He is now making an animated show about Gizmo because he's an artist and all that kind of stuff. So he's now like, that's where he's doing. And he's living in Kingston Falls 2, which Clamp built, who is now president. Kingston Falls 2 is a suburb of New York. Or whatever we ended up calling it. It's just called Kingston Falls, New York or whatever, but yeah. Because remember at the end of Gremlins 2, he's like, I'm going to build this, or Jersey, that's where it was. Sorry, not New York, Jersey. Because remember, he's like, this is.
There's a B-17 right there. Sorry, just.
Yep. You got the B-17. There you go.
B-17 on the wall. Yep.
Thank you, Nick the Greek. I would read your chat, but Tom already answered it very well and thoroughly. Appreciate it, though.
There's a lot more than that to it, but yes.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did you ever
play
get
this
like,
we'll
read
play
by
this for
anybody?
next donation.
Not anybody that it would matter.
I really like them when they get drink and get high.
Yeah, but I mean, if water, but beer has water in it, how's that not causing them to replicate?
Right.
Well, they also had to ask the question about snow too, but they're just like, you know what? It's just straight water. It has to be in liquid form. They kind of figured that's kind of how it works.
And there wasn't as much global warming back then. Yeah.
We all driving on VW bugs.
Thank God.
But this time the car works, guys. The car actually
only works
runs
once.
time. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I love this
Well,
because
that
you're
was a
watching the
Volkswagen Beetle.
windows. Now you watching the windows and shit. There's people being attacked by gremlins and crap. They did such a fucking the little details that are all throughout this shot here are amazing.
Right there, up there, you can see in the window.
You can see in the window. He's like fighting, and then down there's like 2 or 3 people dealing with them, and you got the one in the car, and the one swinging like Tarzan, and.
No, everything is well done. I mean, everything. Yeah, it's not a. They really paid attention, like you said in the movie. Looks great. It holds up today too, because the practical effects are just so fantastic. If they tried to do this today, and they could end up doing crappy CGI that wouldn't work half as well. I mean, that flash dance scene. I mean, that's just so hysterical in the movie. And what's great is these gremlins are smart too, and Gizmo's smart. It's not just like an unintelligent critter. It's they're smart and they're watching TV and they're
Well, they
and they're,
figured out time, or they
You
figured out
teach
space
him to
travel.
watch television.
yeah.
Yeah, I like
Where
it. in the
she-
first
oh, here
one.
it is. God, is this where she goes off about the tangent about what happened?
I
Yeah,
was 9 years
yeah.
old.
How dark of a scene? I was like, bro,
This is
come
one of the
on, you
most
sent your dad
prolific
on
scenes in the
frickin-
film.
Yeah.
Now, of course,
I-
Warner Brothers wanted to cut this out. There is
I
absolutely
actually agree with
no fucking reason why this needs to be in the movie. Because all you had
I
to do
love
was
this-
cut out the part earlier where she just bitches about Christmas, and there's no reason for this to be here.
Yeah, she just says Christmas is not happy. And I, growing up, I had a good friend, unfortunately, had a tragedy on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and to this
Yeah.
day they don't celebrate Christmas. It just I won't get into it, but it was just a hard. So
Yeah,
it's
it
always been.
happens.
So
Well-
and a lot of people do get bummed out, and things do. Unfortunately, like years ago, I found out my dad had pancreatic cancer on Christmas Day. Had
Oh,
to go to the
man.
emergency room and found out that he had 6 months to live. But it still doesn't
But,
ruin Christmas for me. But for a lot of people, the holidays are really tough, and so I think that adds a realism to this movie too. Although it's a ridiculous, crazy thing. He's
Well,
trying
it's
to
the
go down
funny
the
thing is it's a
chimney, but-
joke if you think about it.
Yeah,
Because the
I don't
punchline
mind-
is that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
It's a
mind that-
joke. It's really kind of a setup to a really sick joke. But
Dark
the thing is
satire,
yeah, Joe fought to keep this in because he's like, this is the movie. He's like, this scene is a whole metaphor for the whole fucking movie. He's like, this makes you understand what this movie is about in a weird way. Because
There
it
he
is one sick fucking joke.
That's
but it is
Kenneth
still
Tobey.
funny if you think about it. What's sad about it is you stop and think about it for a minute because that is like the punchline. It's a setup for a fucking joke. You go through this whole fucking story and then you set it up at the end, and that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus. But bump.
And
That's
if she was
I
like,
don't mind that Kate didn't want to celebrate Christmas. I just feel like that was a bad way of portraying it. It's like, bro, way like darken the mood with you setting your dad on fire.
I give him
like,
credit
bro.
for having that kind of. Well, he didn't set him on fire. He was already dead. That's the thing. But they were looking for him for like a week. He slipped and fell and broke his
Yeah, I
neck
knew he slipped and
instantly.
fell.
She
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that.
chimney.
that.
But when she went to light up the fires, when she noticed the smell,
She knows.
I know
Yeah,
this
right.
whole thing by heart. Sadly,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the
But like I
DeLorean.
said, this is your Blade Runner.
we were expecting them to
Yeah.
pull out a dead cat or a bird.
Mark,
But instead,
I
they
give
Or
you
the
pulled out
that.
my
DeLorean.
father.
Or look at this
If-
shot here. Does that look familiar to everyone? There's the
Yeah.
power line for the DeLorean.
Yep.
if this movie was
Yeah.
set 25 years later, if this is 25 years later and Phoebe was like some soldier over in one of the stands where we blew up people and shit, and she came back and telling a story like this, we'd just laugh and say it's just another vet chick with daddy issues, no big deal, let's go fuck her. And that would be completely it. But this is 1984, and we've forgotten the pain and PTSD of Vietnam War, and here she is with this story, and she completely bottoms out your entire idea of a happy fucking Christmas Capra special, and she
Exactly.
she destroys it, and she carries the joke so fucking well, and just has that smirk on her face, like, and now I get blowjobs on Christmas Day to remember my daddy. I mean, I
I mean, it is a
see her
South
doing
Park
it.
like
joke,
that.
really, if you think about it. And again, I know some people are like, how is that funny? It isn't really necessarily quote unquote funny.
It's
It is
fucking
dark
hokey.
humor,
It is
though.
anecdotal and it is amusing in a dark
It is
way.
like telling the
Mark,
aristocrats joke,
I
basically.
message
Yes.
you. Can you.
Oh,
It is like, how far can you
Private
take this
jet.
joke before somebody goes, oh man,
Yeah.
that's just too fucking
Oh,
far?
that's
You know,
a
like
weird show. What are you going to call it?
the aristocrats.
oh,
What an amazing movie. If any of the movie have never seen that, watch it because like
Man,
Gilbert
God.
Gottfried. And
I was just gonna say
everybody-
Gilbert Godfrey does the best version of it. He just kills it.
Yeah, his is the best. I agree
If
with
you're
you on that.
lost, I can start over.
you want to see the gas station? Someone was
Are
asking.
you
the
keeping
gas
up with me
Yeah.
here?
Because this is my favorite cameo in the film.
The pelts are smokeless.
Because I am a big Kenneth. Go all the way back to the close up of him. That is Kenneth Tobey, the hero of the original thing from Another World.
Yep.
That's true. Yes.
Ah,
And he's been in a lot of Dante's. He's been in a lot of
That's the
sci-fi
cowboy
films.
guy, wasn't he?
He was a cowboy actor, but he also was a soldier. He played a lot of. Well, he served in the military, and so he played a lot of soldiers in film. And he played the captain
with a really bad wig there, man. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, it's pretty bad.
it does look pretty bad. This is towards the end
that's
of
what
his
happens
life.
when you get attacked by the thing from another planet.
Now, was it earlier in the movie? I think where they showed the movie theater and it showed a movie playing. It said A Boy's Life.
yes, Boy's Life
Yes.
on one side and Watch the Skies on the other. Now,
And
Gary,
we all
what are
know
those?
Which is
that
another
was, right?
line straight
Fake-
from the
fake-
movie The Thing from Another World.
And a
But-
fake
Last
name
line.
for E.T. when E.T. was shipped.
I was
to
just going to
theaters,
say, it's the
fake
working
name.
title for E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Watch the
Yep.
Skies was the working title for Close Encounters.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
God, you learn
And yes,
something
that is
every
the same
Tuesday.
theater the same theater that's the porn theater in Back to the Future. Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, in Back to the Future, where they're in the future, it was 2, right? Part 2.
Yes.
There's a spinner from Blade Runner parked on the
Yes.
street right where the
Yep.
Burger King is.
That
Amazing
spinner
to
is
think
what
we
got
have
us to
Burger King in the
RoboCop.
future.
Sorry,
Yeah.
what were you saying, Bruce?
I'm just surprised we have Burger King in the future. Have you eaten there lately? Oh my God. I need to stop.
Yeah, I used to like their onion rings, and
Oh,
now I don't. They're gross.
Oh, the
A
onion
long
rings are
time
bad?
ago, I worked there. It cured me.
I used to work there, my friend. I feel your pain. Now, this was
Yeah.
always a big thing for Dante. He was like, Disney only gave them X amount of the movie. So they could only use so much of the movie. Like Disney was real shitty about how much they could use.
To
But he
be
made sure they
fair,
actually
I think
showed it
this
in
is
the
all they
actual aspect
needed.
ratio too. Yeah, that's all you really need.
I think this is all they really needed because it was perfect that freaking Billy was looking at Kate. He's like, they're watching Snow White and they're loving it.
Well, they had much
I
better
laughed
the Gremlins.
so hard.
The Gremlins had much better taste than Rachel Ziegler, of course.
Yeah, dude, they actually respect the source material more than Rachel Zegler
Yeah.
ever did.
They
They
Gremlins should, one of these
genuinely
Gremlins
cared.
should have been Snow White.
You know what? I would have been preferable to it. Not that I would want any remake ever, but if you're gonna do it, you might as well have them because
Yeah.
they would have
on,
honored the
Disney.
source material more than Zegler ever would have.
I would have paid one of those gremlins to wear the dress that Snow White had on.
Then I want to fuck it in the face. That's my wife's car.
Your ass.
Wow, we got two Gilbert Gottfried.
Gilbert Gottfried is dead.
Well, we got one Gilbert
dead.
Gottfried and somebody else.
That is a doornail.
Is that dude?
That's so awesome.
God, I miss Gilbert
I
Gottfried.
hope.
Was that Pee Wee Herman in the movie theater?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me
Probably.
go back. Is that Pee Wee Herman there? No.
Yeah, he's drinking.
Is he in a trench
What
coat?
are they doing in that movie theater? in
I
the
remember
trench
after
coat?
he got arrested, there was this great joke going around said Pee Wee Herman 3 coming in a theater near you.
Heard any good jokes about me? That's what he said with the first appearance after that whole
Yeah,
thing.
it was-
Even I like how even Gizmo.
That time, I heard you coming.
Did they have to pay her extra money to say that?
No,
No.
because she probably did.
You got paid scale.
Yeah.
That was his payment to her. That was Dolph Lundgren's payment to Tia Carrere. You saw that shit eating grin he had his face when she said that comment.
Little Gizmo singing hi ho.
Yeah. I love how Gizmo.
Okay, yeah,
was
that's
on-
another thing that's kind of like brushed over, but Kate has like a dozen jobs in town.
Yeah, she's working everywhere. She's working the bars.
Yeah, like that's why she knows where everything is in this. Like she works at the theater too. So
She's not getting
Homer
paid at the bar.
Simpson. She's the Homer Simpson.
she's doing that for free on top of it all.
Why was
Yeah.
she doing the bar work for free?
Because she was friends with Dory. Like that's the
Oh,
whole
okay,
thing. Is
that's
like,
what I
okay,
was
so you get the
wondering, yeah.
concept here is like she clearly after her dad died, she had to help out. Probably her mom probably lost
Yeah.
it. And she's probably can't carrying all the bills and all that shit. So yeah, to keep
I was
Mrs.
wondering
Deagle
why
off their
she's
ass.
working for
Crazy.
free.
Because that's the other thing is Mrs.
The guy
Deagle
wearing
has
a bucket.
has
There's
like
a gremlin
such
wearing a bucket.
yeah. They have a thing where they talk about it in one of the deleted scenes where basically that's kind of the whole thing is that the bank is so tight with Mrs. Deagle that she owns like half the town and everything like that. Yeah, or most of the town or whatever. Yeah, so like it's kind of a whole big thing. And she's like the one fighting against Mrs. Deagle. So like that's all kind of lost in the mix too.
Yeah, yeah. We need Gremlins. Yeah, we don't care about.
See, and here's where there's some arguments. Michael Winslow claims he did the voice of Stripe. Frank Welker does the voice in almost every iteration that I know of, and I am almost 100% sure that is Frank Welker because I can tell what Frank Welker sounds like. Michael Winslow's version is a little bit more different. He may have done the recordings, but I think they ended up using Frank's. Because, especially when he goes, that sounds just like Frank fucking Welker.
Stripe wasn't just the smartest. He also had dumb luck on his side. The fact that he had the munchies and looked across the street and was like, oh, hey, I'm still hungry.
Now, if those Gremlins were just smart enough to know how to change reels, this wouldn't have been a problem.
Yep. See, the Gremlins thought they knew it all, but they didn't know how to change films, so that's on them. So their asses got set to fire. Bitches.
It's impressive enough they got the damn film working.
Oh, I know, right? It is kind of accomplishment, to be fair. But dude, right here,
I always love this shot.
That's a really good shot where you see like because it makes it like where the way that they're jumping out. I was like, ooh, that's like a horror movie scene right there.
You know what this is here? This is like a little trolley, and they got them on there, and they're literally just like going up and down like this. As the trolley moves along, it's got like the what do you call it? The little
It's really clever the way they pulled that off.
Yeah.
Agreed.
By the way, I just found out who the actor was that the photo was up on the wall. That is Edward Albert Sr.
Edward?
That's it.
Actor, yeah.
Well, to live forever in Gremlins.
Oh, you actually caught a piece of the non-gremlin arm there if you go back like 2 seconds.
Oh, wait, what?
Go back.
Like, because all those are is just like gremlin, they're like just gremlin hands. See that? Look at that right there. Like those little grabby arms. See the wood stick part?
Yeah.
Yep. That's all those are. There's a bunch of those. A bunch of the RLM guys got a bunch of those from the second one because that's where they use those all for the elevator scene.
Movie magic
for
at
Phoebe.
work.
Yeah. They're just like those regular old arms you used to buy at the joke shops and shit.
You tease your sister
or the
with,
sharks. You know the sharks with the little
Yeah, the sharks.
The bitey shark.
Jaws, yep.
Just same exact concept, yep.
Ooh,
wow,
Montgomery
Ward. I forgot
that.
all about them.
Montgomery Ward plays a big part in this movie, yeah.
It's kind of like a Sears for the you got it was Amazon, but you had to go to the store to get your stuff.
Yeah, we bought like a whole furniture set from there, and we kept it till like
that would always make me
forever.
Man, I forgot all about Montgomery Ward the same way I forgot all about Venture. Jeez,
Venture. I met Ian Ziering in Venture.
Ian Ziering, refresh me.
90210.
90210.
Oh, Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Sharknado.
Because when they opened up, they had this big flyer saying, "Come meet Ian Ziering," and I get there and I'm like, he was so like over tan, it was almost like orange.
Oh, he should run for president then.
Great idea.
Ooh, that's a creepy looking teddy.
Just
right
can't
there.
run in Colorado.
Trump just got booted off the ballot in Colorado. It's going.
I saw that earlier. That's crazy. Yeah. There's only one time where Howie Mandel does not do the Mogwais though, and that's when he's doing the singing part. So that NECA gizmo that you have. Song? No. The parts your little guy. Yeah, that's actually a little girl who was in the choir of Jerry Goldsmith's church.
Yeah.
And she could hit these really high notes. So they
that
brought
Howie
her
couldn't
in.
hit.
Oh, yeah, I can see Howie Mandel not do that.
And all he was doing was Bobby. And he even admits that. He's like, let's do Bobby. You know, I can't even do it anymore.
You have to have Howie Mandel like have Gary grab Howie Mandel's balls.
And they would pitch it
really
up just
huge.
slightly. Yeah. So like they would have him go like,
Then they
If Gary grabbed Howie Mandel's balls like really tight, maybe he could have done hit that same note. Maybe.
Because he had already.
Could you imagine that
invented
1
Bobby
second
at that
where his
point.
eyes locked with mine when that happened?
Look at this lucky bastard right here getting a kiss.
Yeah.
Fucking,
A kiss Phoebe Cates.
And he actually got paid for this movie.
right?
See, this
And
movie had everything.
He was the youngin too. He was the youngin because she was the older one.
Yeah, I think he was only like 21, 22, something like that, and she was like 27 already, something like
It's
that.
a very, very
Here,
Chad
we
move.
need this scene again to just for your
Very
reference. If you
Chad.
haven't
Very
seen
Chad
it,
move.
And
Haven't
Gizmo's
seen
being
Fast
all
Times,
gentlemanly and closing his eyes.
yeah.
See, you all talking about Phoebe. I like Jennifer Connelly. I'm sorry, guys.
get that room.
She was a little bit younger. A little bit younger. Of course, she was
Huey, stop
she was a-
poking me.
she had Labyrinth. I keep waiting for the Goblin King David Bowie to show up at the end of this one or something. That'd have been a good crossover with the Jennifer. Jennifer Connelly show up with David Bowie. get all the Gremlins. Yeah.
Jennifer is the prettier of the two and probably the better boobs.
Well, she was
But-
like 16 or so around, or 14, 15 at this time, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it was a controversy over Labyrinth. too,
David,
some of the
or yeah, with
Bowie's.
her and David
And
Bowie
they had
and the
to-
age difference. Yeah.
They had to wrap her boobs too, because she was full size at that time, and they had to put bandages over her breasts to hold them down.
Like Punky
for
Brewster.
Labyrinth. Yeah.
Yeah, and also David Bowie didn't wrap something up in some of those dancing scenes too. And
You guys
I
would
know
know
Gary
your
watched
research on this.
Gary watched really closely on those
Yeah,
scenes.
Gary paused those a lot. We call that the trouser snake.
Yes, baby.
Yours is nasty.
Well, yeah, we're on Toxic Tuesday.
And here we
I
get
didn't
into
give
the
any
final
stipulations, I just-
confrontation.
Oh, look at look at the music
Oh,
department. there.
dude,
Oh,
this-
look at the
I know,
Atari.
right?
What game? Wait, what Atari game is that? What Atari game is
Is ET, I think. No, it's not ET. I was just being a shit.
that? Tough to tell.
You sure?
I
It's
can't
really
tell
tough
what it
to
is.
tell.
It's not
But-
ET.
Someone in the chat maybe would
Silver,
know.
red band. I can't see what the picture is. though.
80,
I think those-
84 or later.
It'd be probably more like 83-ish because
Yeah,
they would
when they
shot
filmed it.
this. They would have shot this
83.
during the end of 83, I think. Yeah. So I think
And the
they
silver,
wrapped
I
up
think-
somewhere in
I think
February or
that's a-
March of 84.
Yeah, I think that's a
It
standard
released-
Atari game too.
June 8th of 1984 was the third biggest movie.
Yeah. I know. I'm talking
US.
about when they finished shooting, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Probably December, November.
Well, they started shooting
maybe.
in 83. That I know. I think it was really late 83.
Look at those tube TVs, man.
Dude, look at the bubbles
say-
on those TVs. Those
Did you say look at the
Bubble.
boobs? Look at the boobs.
Yes, I said
Bubbles.
Always look at the boobs. Boobies are important.
Those bubble TVs. I remember those things are heavy. I remember when I was 10 or 11.
Okay, so if
we
she
got
was
our first
21,
big
then
screen.
okay. Putin's cat says she was born in 63. Well, if she was 21, maybe he was only 18, 19 then, because I know he was at least a few years younger than her. That was one thing. So he might not
That
have
was
been
the
then.
big thing. The fact that he was the one who was younger. That was the
Oh,
big
yeah.
deal. Because that wasn't as
We'll have Santa
common.
Claus for all the kiddies.
Oh,
Dude, there's
Nikolai, I
an
don't
ET
think-
toy here, and I want it.
Bunch of Looney
There's an
Tunes too.
ET toy
Sylvester.
and a bunch of Looney Tunes. I want that Sylvester. Bro, come on. Go give me one of those
Bugs.
Sylvesters. I bet it's a better Sylvester than whatever they would make it.
Fucking trash.
We have the
And
kids
Eklay, I don't think
involved.
that's River Raid because that was an Activision game, so it had different.
Yeah, Activision
Oh.
would have different coloring and it'd have a
Coloring,
rainbow
yeah.
on it.
Yeah. 'Cause those are the guys that shot off of Atari.
Made better games.
Wow.
Atari wouldn't let them say
Another
have
Bugs
their
Bunny.
name in the manual or nothing.
Oh, that's
They were
another.
the-
Dude, yeah, that was another Bugs. But I never noticed that
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
Bugs.
look at that
And that's
bug.
another
before.
gremlin gizmo word is glub glub. That means water.
Wow.
You know what's funny is there's a whole fucking community of people who have like fucking their own Mogwai and shit that they've created and stuff. I
Oh, I'm
shit you
sure.
not. There's
Oh,
even a
no,
Wii
I
game
believe
that
it.
supports this community where you can create your own Mogwai and take care of them and shit. It's fucking insane.
Do they have their
Holy
own language that
shit.
they can speak to? You know, like people
That's
speak
where
Chinese.
that's where some of these words
They
kick
speak
off the
Mogwai.
language. Yes.
It's
They
like
have their own little
retrofitted
language.
Tamagotchi pet.
Kind of like, well, they don't have those yet, but it's kind of the same thing
Tamagotchi
like
came
that
out
in
in
that game. Because you
94.
basically, that's all you're doing is just like giving gifts and feeding your Mogwai and playing games with your Mogwai and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Not getting
Are the
it
people
wet.
that into that
Not
don't
getting
eat
it
after
wet.
Do they not eat after midnight and not take showers?
I don't know if it lets you or not. I never played it. I got it for the like my girlfriend's kids way back when, just because, and I just kind of watched them play it a little bit, and I watched them design their own Mogwais and stuff. Yeah.
You'll never. So that's gotta be hard for Gary to never be able to get it wet.
It's required.
Okay, so this was a dangerous scene to shoot because it's a real chainsaw.
A chainsaw, and he got shot. He got darted too in his chest. He got darted.
Yeah, well,
by
that
it.
didn't. Well, that was
Right.
just fake. But like,
Oh, I know
this
it's fake,
chainsaw
but-
is real because it
Bro.
had to cut through the bat.
Yeah, shit.
But it had a stopper on it, so it would only go so far. But it was up to Billy, or well, Zach Galligan, to act with it. But if he'd have fucked up at any moment, it could have
It's
gotten
a real chainsaw.
pretty
It's
dicey. Yeah,
dangerous.
yeah. But you look to
Yeah,
the
you get to kiss Phoebe Cates. You're gonna do whatever it takes to stay in this movie,
that's
kid.
sacrifice, right? But if you look to
He's
the
like,
bottom left of the screen, you can actually see the mechanism under Stripe.
The
It's kind of
things
funny.
I did for that damn kiss. I know I'm getting darted. I'm getting chainsawed out. I got balls hitting in my face. Dude, oh, yeah.
They
He
filmed
was,
it,
kind
you're
of
like-
he was kind of a bitch now in this like scene because he's like one can just stand there like, oh, I'm like you.
Fuck
it's-
you! You ever step on a Lego? That shit hurts, yo.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, if you start a Lego, your life isn't on the line.
That's a dart going in your arm about like probably that thick or that.
Yeah,
long.
but it's kill or be killed. Standing
I'd
around.
rather
I'm just
step on
fucking
one
with
of
you.
these than a fucking Lego. Okay.
I know, right? Well, wait till Stripe starts getting out the fucking Legos.
Were there even Legos in '83 or 84?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
There was
Legos, I think
Legos.
were
Oh, God,
60s, 70s.
Legos
Yeah,
are very, very
I
old.
played with them as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did
They
you
just-
play with, Gary?
They just didn't
My
start
penis.
doing the. They
play
didn't
with
start
Tony's
doing
well.
all the.
That's a lie.
The
What do you
80s.
call it? All the license deals until like
License,
late
yeah.
80s, early 90s or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
But they had Legos were out just after World War II, I think.
2012.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because they're already in a big swing when I was a kid. Like,
But a
everybody
German
had-
toy, weren't they?
I don't
Were they
know.
I
German?
think it was
I
an
can't
Austrian
remember.
guy. I think it was
Austrian.
guy.
Austrian.
I
You're
think.
right.
I think
The
guy
big thing
invented it.
in the
and
'60s
they
was
sold it, yeah.
Legos, Mr. Potato Head, and Lincoln Logs.
And
Lincoln
GI
Logs,
Joe.
Yeah, I Tinker Toys, Lincoln Logs, Erector sets.
I'm talking for little kids. G.I. Joe is.
I think
older
Gary's
kids.
favorite was the Lincoln Logs.
He likes
He said
Erector.
Because the shape fit more better in my butt.
Did notice the
The
stain.
lion dog face pony soldier.
One of the toys I wish I still had was, I don't know if it was Matchbox or somebody who put it out, but you had Gizmo in the little Barbie Corvette.
Car.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
That was a thing. Holy
Yes.
damn!
Oh yeah, they had some merchandise. LJN did most of the merchandise for the show. But
That is nuts.
And I
they
always-
had some rubber figures. I've got most of the stuff. I don't have the bigger ones like Gary was talking about. Like I've seen them. They're a little harder to come by. I did have the old Mogwai. I don't know if I still have them anymore.
They're harder to come by, but not
Yeah.
harder to come on.
Exactly. You can come on them all you want.
LJ.
Movie Magic RJ Godzilla, of course.
Yeah,
is
because
just,
I had the bendable one that Tom showed, but I also had the larger one with the arms that like.
Yeah, I know which one he's talking about. That one's a little more expensive to come across.
I got
yeah.
that one, and I got the Mogwai, or Gizmo, that had the eyes. It was like a Furby. It reminded me of a Furby.
No,
I think
LJN
I
did
have
the
that chainsaw.
LJN because I still have one in the package of all the little rubber characters, and I remember. Oh shit! I don't know if I still have it, but I had the box that this came in.
Who's dropping their balls everywhere?
Yeah, look at
Came
that.
on. And this is the
Later
little
on,
bendy one.
I
But
also got
LJN
like
did all the toys. Yeah.
Who?
Oh, look, it's It's an Eager Beaver chainsaw. I wonder if I have like an old electric chainsaw in the garage that the homeowner left here. I wonder if it looks just like it. I gotta check if it's an Eager Beaver.
No, they never made round Legos because they don't hurt.
Lego,
Yeah,
number one for
that would
prostate
actually
stimulation.
that would actually solve a problem. You can't
Yeah,
make anything that
they're
solves a
made
problem.
specifically for maximum pain when you step on them.
Max.
And this was
pain.
Clint Eastwood's favorite department store. I mean, typical department store back then. You just had the pistols, and the
Little
weapons right there.
snub-nosed 32.
They're on
Buy-
sale too. See,
On sale, yeah. I mean, Woolworths. I remember used to carry guns. Where we
you used to be able to buy guns at gas stations and shit, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Used to.
Yeah, it was the guy. The sushi will kill you though.
I've never had.
oh yeah, that's one thing you never buy from a gas station, obviously. Barney.
Nowadays, though, if you know where to find them, you can get a decent pizza slice at like a Casey's. But yeah, I remember.
Oh God, Casey's.
Casey's makes great pizza.
Hell
man.
yeah.
Yeah, I've got that dicked, man. Holy shit.
Best is the fucking
There's Gizmo in the Barbie car. But yeah, Casey's here. They do delivery. And I'm telling you, when you're hankering for a good pizza, they're very good. They put, especially their meat lovers one with sausage, pepperoni, and hamburger. Whoa, that's good.
Figures your favorite would be the meat lover.
I love meat, man. I gotta get meat and put it in my mouth.
That's how you
Guzzle
stay
it
healthy.
down.
Look out, woof woof!
All you guys, all you people that partake in the herb, you just need to know if there's a Casey's nearby and if they serve their world famous breakfast pizza.
The two things they have, man, that are great when you're got the munchies. They always get donuts and they always get pizza.
Don't forget their cookies, man. They're fucking little mini fucking.
I've never had those.
Oh, they're little chocolate chip cookies. You next time you go there, if you have
Really? They're chocolate chip
Oh,
cookies.
they're
are good
fucking
there?
amazing.
Oh,
Fucking amazing.
Good milk and dunk the shit out of it.
Dude, I'm right across the street from a Casey's. I did not.
You
I
lucky fuck.
You son of a bitch.
We've got one we got one like 2 miles down the road, but
I have to
I
drive
hate it.
so far to get to one. I'm so pissed. And if I lived near one, I'd probably be dead by now.
I'm right.
Extra
I'm right
100
by
pounds.
a Casey's
Dead
and a
from a heart
payphone.
attack. Yeah.
I
I'm
got
like
it in my,
Casey's.
Murderer.
Casey's.
Casey's and a payphone, and it's also
That sounds like the name of a song.
remodeled payphone too, because someone knocked over the original payphone, so they rebuilt the payphone. I'm like, so that may be one of the last payphones in the state. I
Wow.
live by it. I take pride in that
Water.
payphone. Water, yeah, dude. He looks like he's about to get high off that.
He knows
shit.
what the real deal is. Yeah.
But
It's pure water.
Gizmo and Barney are gonna go
Look at those
Rambo on his
games.
ass.
Well, what's
Look out, woof,
Survive?
woof.
Odie, that's Odie from
There's a
Garfield.
Mad Magazine
Yes.
game.
Yeah, there was.
Survive?
Holy shit.
I don't know what Survive is. Is it like a risk
I
game?
never
or-
played
be.
Survive.
It's just
I was
a board
always
game.
more of a
It's one that
Connect
didn't
Four type
survive
guy.
out of the 80s, evidently.
Yeah.
Big Boggle. Big
Big
Boggle.
Boggle.
Not just
I remember that
regular
one.
boggle, big boggle.
Yeah, it's Big Boggle. Yeah, it's been embiggened for your
Big
pleasure.
Been
Boggle.
big and it was
Big Boggle.
engorged.
It's more pleasuring.
Oh God,
Big.
he's shaking like he's having an orgasm in his scene. I
Well.
remember that.
Come on, he's
Yeah,
giving
well,
birth. Let's be understanding here. He's
Yes,
going
he's a
through a
mother.
lot. He's not taking any drugs. He's doing it all
Twice in
natural.
one day, no less.
Yeah.
Yeah, asexual procreation.
So I'm glad Gizmo went Rambo on his ass. Say no,
Right.
you die, bitch.
That's in the sequel, but like, yeah, he still gets him here, which pissed Zach Galligan off because him opening the second shutter gets cut out. Because Gizmo opens the one, it's not enough. It's not
Yeah,
enough. But if you notice, all
coup
of
de
a
grace.
sudden, yeah, all of a sudden it gets brighter. That's because they cut right to after he pulled the thing. But yeah, Billy pulled the rest of the thing all the way open. Yeah. He's like, they even cut me out of the movie just so he could be the hero.
Well, duh. A
little bit of envy there.
I
Stuck
know,
a fiddle
right?
to a puppet.
guess what, bro? Gizmo is the hero of this damn movie.
Yeah, who would you
It's
say is the
called
hero of this movie?
Gremlins.
It's Gizmo, right? I mean,
Either it's Gizmo or it's a dog.
right? The
Well,
human's
Billy
not the
did
lead in
blow-
this one.
Billy did blow the rest of them up though. So
Well, dog think it was getting Barney. I think the dog's name of this movie.
yes,
Yeah, Barney. I'd say Barney had his part,
Gizmo.
played his part. Yeah, Barney played his part. But man, it felt like there are times where the director hated Barney. It's like, bro, what's with the vendetta against Barney? It's a nice.
Well, in the
dog.
original script, he disappears, so they had to figure out a way to
Oh,
get
I
rid of
heard.
him for a while.
Well,
I
mom takes out several in the kitchen. The kid takes out a bunch with the explosion, but it's Gizmo that finishes the job.
Yep.
Yes, facts. See, Billy, you don't need
But
to
see
be the
here,
one.
okay, so you see that one part of it's open, the rest of it's supposed to be open.
Yeah.
Okay, now it cuts to both sides being opened, and Billy just is like standing there smiling after this.
Okay.
Watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see it's still.
Yeah, so I saved everyone. Yeah.
Oh, was Billy taking credit? Saying he saved the day? Well, it's really good.
No, they cut it out, but yeah.
Okay,
It's like
good.
Anti-Superman.
But even Joe Dante in the commentaries, he's like, "Come on, Gizmo's the hero."
Hey, you got to kiss Phoebe Cates. Shut up.
I think
Go
he
home.
says that too.
He does. Yeah.
I think so. He's like, plus you got to kiss Phoebe Cates. What are you complaining about, or something like that?
Yeah.
That's a very select club. Yeah.
The commentary is hilarious because then there's like one other part where Zach's going off on some story and Joe's like, "Now that's something I wouldn't even put in the commentary." It's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "It's just not an interesting story. I wouldn't have it in the commentary." He's just like busting his balls and shit. Like, no, they didn't cut it out. They left it in, but it's just Joe just busting his balls through like half of the commentary.
That's great. By the way, I just saw what Barutal sent.
Brutal. He said
You kind of got to know who Joe Dante is. He's a very sarcastic individual. He is a Looney Tune. I mean, he does talk and act like kind of just like, come on. I'm just sarcastic like that. He just has a weird attitude.
This scene right here, along with the hideousness of Stripe in his gremlin form, this definitely had to have been like the borderline gateway horror scenes for many children.
This is one of the few
great, like, and then you see it jump out too. Like this is full on horror territory. This for some kids may have been their gateway
I thought we were
learning
the
what it was like
tonight.
when shit jumped out. Yeah, this had to be terrifying to have seen because.
On
Man,
a big screen too, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, kids loved this movie.
Oh, I know kids loved it, but
in fact, that scene,
jumpy.
The scene from the second film where the mom's bitching, is actually something that happened at one of the early screenings. This lady come out of the theater just pissing and moaning about it. She's like, after the microwave scene, she's like, "How can you show this movie to children?" And her 12-year-old, or not 12-year-old, like 8-9-year-old daughter or whatever, kept trying to pull away from her. And as she was griping to Joe Dante and one of the other producers standing there or whatever, the girl got away. And they couldn't find, actually, maybe she was like 6 or 7. She had to be pretty young because they couldn't find her. Like she went and hid underneath one of the seats so she could finish watching the movie because she knew her mom wasn't going to let her finish it. They're like, her mom was bitching the whole fucking time. So I guess that scene is in the second film. That Joe's like that actually happened. He's like, yeah, some mom come out of the movie just griping and pissing and moaning about the movie, and yeah, and then he tells us the rest of the story from there. But yeah.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Looks like that thing disintegrate. I was like, bro, that thing jumped out. I actually was just like, oh, come on, this thing lives. And of course, it just came back one last time only to die. So I was kind of pissed the first time I saw. I was like, come on, bro, just die already. It's just fucking died, man.
Well, and here's the goop that I used in my Gremlins 3 because it was in like a petri dish that was in the back of the evidence locker at Kingston Falls. And the cop just got killed, so like nobody was paying attention to any of it.
I love how the dog reacts to the bubbles.
Yeah, it's like is that a gremlin coming back to life, or yeah?
But I love his reaction. Look at him. He's like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here."
The dog is the best actor in the film.
But it becomes like a big thing because, like, of course, with Clamp being president and the fact that he covered up the shit in part 2 and all that stuff, it was kind of fun. It kind of mixed with humor with some more seriousness, like the first movie. I kind of took it back a little bit. But yeah, it would have been fun if it ever would have happened. But yeah, they'll make something dumb now.
No one's got pictures of the Gremlins because
There
there
he
were no
is.
cell phones back then, right?
Yeah,
There's the reporter.
Little
that was
green
in,
man.
He's also in
Hysteria.
Joe Dante's The Howling.
The Howling. Yep.
Yeah, we got to get a picture of Bigfoot soon. Everyone's got a cell phone out there. Keep your cell
You'd
phones
think.
charged when you're hiking up there. I want to see a big
Mass
picture of
hysteria.
Bigfoot. Cats and
Cats
dogs.
living with dogs. Mass hysteria.
Gary rubs that stuff on his butt.
The Kingston Falls riots.
Speaking of that, Nick, that photo that he sent of the chocolate covered chicken, what do you call them? McNuggets with sprinkles on it. Did you see it?
I saw it really quickly. I didn't take a deep look, but I saw. I'm like, okay, whether this is, I got to take a deeper look and look later. But
Kyle
I
over the
know
vocal
that there
check
is
as
something.
I'm just
there.
telling you right now, I want those in my butt.
Well, you ruined it.
An entire 6-piece. I want them all in there.
Really? I figured you'd go for the whole 20-piece.
I don't know if I can do that one.
You would think he could actually
fit a 50-piece in his ass.
It'll be like a repeat of the scene from Cool Hand Luke, but in my butt.
Y'all's nasty.
That many.
Yeah,
Well, Bob,
Little green man, there it is. The line.
Oh shit! Hey, congratulations, Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips.
Awesome,
That's
yep.
awesome.
Nice. Congrats.
Congrats, man. Hitting 1K
Same
is
day
awesome.
that
Great feeling.
Culture got
Culture
his
hit
2
15,
milestone.
Culture again.
And we just hit
I wonder
8,000.
if it'll stick. I wonder if cultures will stick with the 50. I wonder if it's going to be something he hits once, or if it's going to take him 2 or 3 times for him to hit.
I think he'll be all right. We'll get him in the morning.
Huge. It's gigantic. Gigantic.
We'll try to get it up there in the morning too.
Oh, I know you'll get it up there. I don't not trust you to do that.
Hola.
That's what I count on. Hello. You're all irresponsible.
I love if you listen to what Gizmo's saying as they're walking away. He's basically retelling the whole story in like Mogwai speak.
Amazing.
Like everything that just happened.
If you say so.
No, listen to what he's saying. He even gets to the stuff like that.
I couldn't understand a fucking thing that animal said the whole movie.
Yeah. If you listen, you pay attention.
I'm just going to trust you, Tom.
Well, the subtitles don't always say everything.
Yeah,
They
they
do once
don't,
in a while, but
Sometimes get a lot of shit wrong. You can't.
well, not just that. They just don't every time. It's sometimes they did, sometimes they don't.
And with
For
great
this
power
movie.
comes great responsibility.
Responsibility. That's right. You didn't listen. See what happens.
Putin's cat's like, rah, 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 rah. How many whiteys you kill this time?
You are not ready. Papa. See there, it said Papa.
Yep.
Yeah, I did catch the papa. He has something to say to you. Yes, he does. One final thing.
Well, and this also was a part of a deleted scene that actually kind of comes full arc here because he's trying to get him to say his name earlier in the original cut of the movie. Can't get him to say Billy. He's trying to get him to say Billy.
I thought he was trying to say, I hope you get lucky with Phoebe tonight. Good luck. You
That
know, bad wing.
He's like,
score, Billy.
He's got to get him to say Billy first, and then the rest is, will you sleep with Billy?
She was totally going to till the little green men showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gave him that funny look in front of her house. That weird
Don't
look.
forget to wear a rubber.
Now,
It was
Billy
the
in high
80s.
school
Nobody
Why would you wear a rubber with Phoebe?
It was the 80s. Nobody wore them.
Well, in the original script, he was in high school, but
Is
in
he
this
graduated or
around
Yeah.
in the 80s? I
that's
wouldn't
another
know.
thing that's kind of like set up in the movie they don't really explain is he works full time at the bank, so he's the one who's basically supporting his family because his dad's a deadbeat inventor who can't
And the other question I have to ask is, if the car doesn't start and he can just run to work in like 2 minutes, why does he even bother driving? I guess because it's the 80s, or
It's cold. This is cold outside. It's
Yeah.
cold out.
And he's probably already running
cold
late at that
outside.
point.
Yeah. I don't blame him for
My
that.
father had a Volkswagen. By the time he made it to the bank, the heat would not have come on.
Right.
That car would have been freezing cold all the way to the
Car had
bank.
no heat, right, yeah.
He was warmer by running.
So sounds like Volkswagens didn't change much then from then to more recently. Because I know someone who had a Jetta. I think it was like an 05 Jetta, and we were in Chicago, and the window came down on his car on the
its
driver's
own?
side front on its own, and he literally couldn't get it back up. And it happened in Chicago in January.
Oh no!
On a
Oh,
fucking
man.
Volkswagen. Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that day. I resented. That was the first step towards my resentment towards Volkswagen. Was that?
Well, at least you didn't have to worry about falling asleep while driving.
Oh, I've been guilty.
Freezing
of
to
that.
death, yes. Falling to sleep, no.
No, yeah.
I've
Those are
I've had
That's what we
many
do
times where
sometimes,
I've
tired,
had
but-
a late night, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
roll the
I'm
window
passing out in
down.
my car.
Look at that matte painting.
Yeah, it's great
Oh,
map painting.
glorious.
There is one other thing, is like there was one scene that was added back for the television version for
Okay.
padding of time to make up for things that were cut and otherwise and whatnot. But what's funny is it's one of the more gruesome scenes that got cut.
And
So
what
it's really
was that?
weird that it's in the movie, but they cut a piece of it out too, which is fucked up. What it is what happens to everybody at the bank. Because like when they come in there, you notice the whole place is fucking trashed. Well, there's a piece that's missing between her story and them leaving. And what that is, and also when they first come in there, there's a piece missing. They see the body of the boss at the bank laying on the floor with a bunch of clocks shoved into her.
Ooh.
Oh god.
Because he's always bitching about time. So like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's all these little like things that were in the original cut that kind of got lost along the way that were kind of pointed.
Gremlins are agents of karma.
Yes. So yes, it's kind of like this idea that he was killed with all the clocks being thrown at him or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's dead, and then they hear noise just before they leave, and they go over to the vault and they open it up, and Judge Reinhold is in the vault. He has locked himself inside the vault. He's like, they got Mr. Corbin, but they couldn't get me. I locked myself in the vault. And they're like, come on, get out of there. And he's like, no, I'm not coming out. They're gonna get me. So he stays in the vault. But it was dark because it was like one of the only other scenes where you see a dead body and shit. Yeah.
Wow, they had video recorders back then in the 80s. Wow.
Yeah, we had one.
With DVR,
a lot of them.
right?
Like my first VCR was one of the top loaders. You put it.
All right, guys, give out your Gremlin scores in the chat. I want. Obviously, it's movies. I actually, you know what? There is. I'll say a mild. I'll lead it off. I would give this a 5 out of 10 for toxicity, and that's for the actual Gremlins, especially the Flasher, and the fact that they are beating the shit and destroying the hell out of that bar, creeping out Phoebe Cates. Yeah, I'd say those creatures were out for everything. Not people.
She was only acting because she liked it.
Yeah, they weren't really out to get people. People just happened to be in their way, and they also old lady shoot up through her freaking wheelchair through the roof. I was like, okay, these bastards are really just toxic creatures. So I'd say the creatures are the 5. Them alone, everything that they did, their destruction and their willingness to get everything they want, and they were absolutely ruthless about it. I'd say the creatures were the toxic element. Everything else is absolutely not toxic at all. But those creatures alone are 5 for toxicity. The creatures alone are that. Greatness, I'm gonna go 9-2 on this one. I mean, cultural phenomena. I do have a handful of nitpicks, but they're not enough where they absolutely hurt my thoughts and fun um, memories and nostalgia for this movie. I can forgive some of the nitpicks I have, like the midnight time stuff like that. I can forgive because of how much fun I have with this movie, and also once again the practical effects are fucking amazing, absolutely amazing. So, yeah, 9-2, nice, quick, easy score. We got a lot of interesting ones in the chat already. You know what? I'm gonna let Dustin lead it off.
There's two ways you can kind of look at this movie. You can look at this movie and rate it toxic by all the white people who fucked everything up. Because they told them not to bring the Mogwai, and they brought the Mogwai. They got him wet on purpose multiple times, and then they fell for the whole thing of feeding them, and then basically ruined the bros' night out. They had one night to party, and they were partying hard too, right?
Oh, dude, Charlie Sheen in his winning days would have been very envious. That's what I mean. They were the toxic ones.
They were partying hard, and we fucked it up for them. We killed them all. They were trying to watch a movie, hang out, have a good time, and we fucked it up for them. Or, or you can look at it like, well, we're still stupid for bringing the Mogwai home. We should never have done that, right? But out of nowhere, like the Mogwais were just little assholes who just kind of were like, okay, we're here and we're going to fuck your world up. So I have to, the movie is one of those movies, in my opinion, for me in my life. It's such a big cultural phenomenon that everybody knows what this movie is, but I had not really watched it more than maybe once or twice. I don't know how that happened, but it's like I remembered everything about it except for some of like the some of the story elements and such, like that the one lady was such a bitch and all that stuff. I didn't remember any of that stuff, or the fact that he worked at a bank. But all the stuff with the Gremlins, them partying and being in a movie theater, dying in the fountain, all that stuff. I remember that, from being a kid, because I'm a year older than Tom. And so I don't remember when I saw this movie, but I know I didn't see it in theaters. But I think I got to give greatness just on the nostalgia alone. I think I give it the same score you did of 9-2. And then the toxicity. I think some of the toxicity factors kind of go in like how gross some of it was for me remembering it and like watching like literally bubbling, other creatures bubbling off their backs.
Yeah.
I probably got to go with a 6.5 out of 10.
Ooh, even more so than me. Well, hot dog, dude. Okay. All right, I'm going to blaze through some of these, and I'm going to pass it on to the back door. Brian Barth, 10-10. E. Clay Tomasin, toxicity 1, overall 9. Deleted scenes overall -9, toxicity -5. Ooh, coming in hot. Mecca J, overall 10-10, toxic 6. Flasher 8. Matthew Barzillo, 10-10 for toxicity, Pretty Phoebe Kate, Strike, Pelt, Skeleton, Polly, Holiday, Suffering, Death, Bride, Gremlin, Chairlift. Lisa, Toxic 2, Movie 8, Fun 10, Project Cambrian 10. Brian Barth, Movie 10-10, Toxicity 3. Keely Chow, Toxicity 5, overall 10-10. The Gremlins have great taste in movies. Facts. Mr. 2, I don't know about toxicity, but I can agree with Nick about his views on the toxicity and the Gremlins. Right? Seriously, those creatures were freaking badass sons of bitches. Like, don't get wrong, I hate them, but that's what made them like great. They left no one or no thing off the table to further their needs and just wanted to live their lives and party their faces off. They're just basically creatures that were eternally drunk. So, and that's all they wanted to do. They had Charlie Sheen blood in them. And that's just, sometimes that's the natural reaction. But overall, a huge 9 out of 10. Radioactive toxicity 2, overall 9. Lisa says boobs 0 out of 10, TV boobs 10-10. TZ Burton, toxic 5, overall 9. Gremlin Mischief 10. Phoebe 11 Fabs. RJ Godzilla. Movie is a 1 million out of 10. 3 for toxicity, 8 for monster hilarity. Let's hear for the original party animals. Move over Robert Downey Jr. Ooh. And the late night would cap 5 out of 10. And I think that's all I got for now. Geary.
Toxicity, I don't even know if I could give it anything, even with the Gremlins. It's not a toxic film in my opinion. But I love this movie, always have. And
Okay.
for practical effects, for just simply the fun storytelling, the comedy in it, everything and the writing, all of it amounts to about a 9.5 to a 10, right in that area. And I love the cast. Dick Miller, Jesus Christ. You know how much I love Dick.
Yes, we do.
Again, I want to remind people that a friend got onto me, a gay friend said, you do an awful lot of gay jokes for somebody who's not gay. And I'm like, prove it. Prove I'm not.
Oh, that was glorious. All right. Bruce.
All right. So this movie I saw in theaters with my dad, and I had 3 out of the 6 little books from Hardee's at the time. I was pretty happy with everything I've got. I'm seeing this movie. My dad and I go to watch it, and my dad starts looking at like all the set design and the fact that the fucking snow is not right. And my dad, it's just downhill from there. That was the worst 20-minute ride home with my father I've ever had of the movie up until The Matrix Reloaded. Anyway,
why?
So he didn't want to buy you a Mogwai?
No. He hated the film. He's like, that movie was not what they advertised it as. I remember this was supposed to be a return to form for Steven Spielberg. He was going to give us, another version of E.T., which, we did not obviously get tonight. Instead, I see a movie where it's just little things breaking everything they see. My dad almost dropped the F-bomb there, but like he was just pissed. And he's like, this movie was terrible. And all you kids in this movie were loving it. You were laughing at it. The lady got flung out of her window and she died. And I'm like, it was done kind of like maybe a cartoon. That was a real woman. And I'm like, no, Dad, it was a puppet or it was a dummy, but it was, and that was like the worst defense of a movie I came up with in '84, and when I was 9 years old. My dad and we disagreed really hard about it. I thought the movie was great. I thought the movie was fantastic then. I think the movie's fantastic now. Gremlins is one of those films that you don't really get exactly everything you think it is when you open the box and you start watching the film. But when you start seeing what's going on, it's a nice little cautionary tale. You probably don't want to take this to your little suburbanite home and let this thing run wild, and you sure as hell don't let it, eat and procreate, because you don't want to make more of these things. But it's a very fun movie. And for me, I think the practical effects of this movie, there's only a few films that are better in the practical effects for this. And both movies I'm going to name off the top of my head are going to be The Halloween and The Thing. Those two films have better practical effects than Gremlins from '84. And as much as I like Part 2 much more than this movie, this movie's practical effects at the time were jaw-dropping. And that was something that I remember talking about with my friends, and I wanted to go see it again because just watching all the fucking nasty stuff, just the gurgling and bubbling and roiling of the animals coming off the back, that was so cool.
And did you think that there was something reminiscent of Alien with the way they were in pods?
Okay, it's '84. I'm 9 years old. I didn't see Alien until the next year. Now, I only saw that because I went over to my cousin's house and saw Alien. But when they word it like that, I could see where somebody who had the culture of the time to see this, they would think that. When I was watching it, I was thinking of The Thing the whole time, like, wow, this movie's almost as good as The Thing. And I tried telling my dad that. My dad hates The Thing from '82 because he's like, oh, that movie's just a gore fest. That movie's just a spectacle of grossness. And I'm like, but I like that. And he's like, you don't know what you like. You're 9 years old. You're an idiot. Wow, just telling my dad there. So for me, this movie is, you're going to think I'm nuts, but I think this movie is like an 80 out of 100.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at the long game here. At the time when I saw it, I thought this movie was like a 10 out of 10. I'm 9 years old. This is a great film. I get to see a furry little hero defend his human friends against his little evil spawn characters. And it's just, it's a fun movie to watch. This is absolutely a fun movie to watch. And for the greatness, I'm going to say it's 80 out of 100. But the toxicity, I'm going to say is actually an 85 out of 100, and I'm going to mix in that with all the mix in the grossness, the fetid matter, the lady putting the gremlin in a microwave, then the blender action.
Oh, Lynn, she was awesome.
Yeah, then you have Phoebe Cates, this sweet Phoebe Cates that later on, when you turned into a pubescent monster and your forearms turned into Popeye's battleships, and you're there cranking it off, you think for a second about the time where Phoebe Cates is almost breaking down and crying because her daddy snapped his neck in the fireplace, and it makes you crank it out a little harder because you're just a little bit off kilter, and you'd repeat that every Christmas because you watch this movie. It's so fucking great. Phoebe Cates giving that speech about her dead dad in the fireplace sends this movie to an 85 out of 100 on the toxicity. And anybody that wants to doubt me or think that I'm a little bit off, hey, that's great. We can disagree all day. But that and the damn Gremlins knocked the toxicity up to almost unheard of levels. This movie is so good for being a toxic movie because normies won't get it. Normies will look at that and they'll shudder and they'll try to take the little kids away. But the little kids are staring at it because it's new and it's not normal. That's not real. It's puppets or special effects, but it's cool looking. This is like Fraggle Rock, but on an acid trip. You're only 9 years old. You don't know what acid is yet, kid. And it's fun to fucking watch. That's the thing. This movie is fun. And this actually was probably the best year for movies that I can think of in my lifetime. As much as I love 94 and as much as I love 89, 84 is probably my favorite year for movies. 82 is just a smidge underneath it. But the more I study the list for 84, I'm like, yeah, that was the best fucking year for movies. Motherfucker. This movie is a success. 80 out of 100 on greatness, 85 out of 100 for toxicity. And I'm pretty certain there's a handful of us that'll be thinking of Phoebe later tonight.
You said handful?
Yes, sir.
Two out of the three biggest 1984 movies came out on the same day. That's a lot to process. Just not that alone to think about. Anyways,
this movie, the only problem I have with this movie is that there's a sequel to it, and the sequel kicks the shit out of it.
Well, hey, there's a certain gentleman, Joe Dante, who doesn't disagree with you. He likes the sequel better as well. So I guess, hey, you got people who agree with you, including the director himself. Mark.
All right. Well, I mean, this movie, here, I'll turn the camera. No, fix my hat's not straight. Yeah. Get the hat straight. Come on. But
the hot straight.
No, now you look like one of the little rascals. It's all crooked.
Yeah, it's all crooked. Yeah. I can't get the D straight.
But are you Spank a lot?
I'm Spanky. Yeah. Great movie. Holds up. Watching it today. Yeah, it's a holiday movie too, right? It's a Christmas movie. Yeah, it's got to take. Christmas is integral to the story, as everyone said. So, yeah, just love this movie. The Gremlins, the practical effects are great, and yeah, if you weren't expecting, fuzzy, fuzzy, warm, cuddly creatures, and you got the Gremlins, I can see where some parents were shocked back in the day, and yeah, it's but God, it's a fun movie. It's just I can see why this is one of Tom's favorite movies. I've only watched it a few times, but maybe I'll put this on the holiday rotation over the weekend for the kids, because I don't know if my kids have seen this, but and they always want to watch the new crap. So yeah, forget that Candy Cane Lane crap. We'll maybe watch Gremlins instead. So yeah, this is I give this an A minus. This is a good, damn good movie. It holds up today. It's got, like we said, Phoebe Cates. Toxicity, I'm giving it a 7. Those gremlins are fucking toxic little bastages. I mean, look what they're flashing Phoebe in the bar. They're destroying the town. They're doing whatever the fuck they want, right? So, yeah, I think those gremlins just add that toxicity. And look, what's the name of the woman who's always tormenting everyone in the town? I mean, she's toxic. She's buying buying everything up, right? What was her?
Mrs. Deagle.
Mrs. Deagle, yeah, Mrs. Deagle, yeah, she's pretty damn toxic too. So, yeah, this is all around great movie. I don't know how,
Yeah.
there's a lot of small hands in this movie, so I'm giving it 10 out of 10 handy Randy gremlin hands. Because I mean, those hands, there's a lot of those little tiny hands in this movie. So, yeah, if you haven't seen Gremlins, I mean, crap, it's an old movie now. It's just hard to believe. I was high school back then, but if you haven't watched it, yeah, I can go watch. It's got to be pretty easy to find. So on the streaming services, not back in the day when this came out, you had to go to the video store and hope that Blockbuster didn't give out all the copies because this was a popular movie. So yeah, so go check this out and enjoy. And the second one's great too, like everyone's been saying. So do a double feature and get your popcorn. But I'm keeping Gerry away from my popcorn and my corn.
Yeah, you don't want that special flavor.
No. Yes, I don't want.
Why is my popcorn brown?
Yeah, what was the movie in the movie theater with the popcorn trick? And set in
where you put a hole in the bottom of the
diner, yeah, diner, yeah, no diner scenes for me, yeah.
Thank you,
this
Mark.
Is A minus, yep.
Red shirt.
Oh boy.
Oh,
I was 60 years old. I was today years old when I saw this movie for the first time.
Okay.
You're Gremlins virgin?
I've never seen this. I didn't want to see this, and now I wish I hadn't seen it. I think Tom is right. This movie, as a Christmas movie, is a sick fucking joke. Her dad breaks his neck trying to pretend to be Santa, and this movie destroys Christmas. They stuck Chuck Jones in it because he made How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and at least in that movie, the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes. That didn't happen here. I'm with Bruce's dad. I didn't like this. I thought the Mogwai was basically, that was the prototype for Baby Yoda. Nick, you compared this thing to Predator. The gremlins were too damn easy to kill. Yeah, the ugliness. And ugly they were, no question. But they were too easy to kill. It was just, they got wiped out very quickly once everybody figured out they had to deal with them and keep them away from water. I don't know. To me, it's as much a comedy as a horror movie because I wasn't a kid when I saw it. Okay, so the Gremlins didn't scare me. They're ugly, but they're not scary. They're silly and they're crazy and they do stupid and crazy things. And I didn't know whether I was supposed to laugh at them or get jump scares. The practical effects, that's a plus. The practical effects are amazing. They did a fantastic job of creating these creatures, making them believable. But I think this movie, and I'm hearing it from you guys, this movie rates very highly on nostalgia. And that's great. Remembering what you saw. I mean, I had movies that I like on nostalgia that I watch now, and it's like the only reason I would like this movie is because I laughed my ass off at it as a kid, like some of the Pink Panther movies. The bottom line for me is it's a horror comedy to me. I don't like it as a Christmas movie. Putting It's a Wonderful Life in, which is one of my favorite movies that happens to be staged at Christmas time. I think that was weird for what this movie's message was. So toxicity, I'll go with the Gremlins and Mrs. Deagle are toxic as hell, so I'll give it a 3 just for them. But the Gremlins can't bring it much higher than that because I didn't know whether to laugh at them or not. For greatness, it's not a movie I want to watch again, so I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Actually, I thought you were going to give it worse.
Red Shirt's review is pretty much every critic's review of this movie in 1984.
That's because they weren't 10 years old, Tom.
I actually thought you were going to give it worse. Actually, I'm
No.
actually
I have to,
actually.
No. I have to give it the props for the effects, for the fact that it's a story that holds together. The fact that I don't particularly like the story as a Christmas story, doesn't change the fact that it is a story. It is told well. It has great effects. The monsters are believable, even if they're sometimes laughable. I mean, the scene in the bar, literally. Phoebe Cates may have been terrified of them, but I wasn't. I mean, first of all, I didn't have smell-o-vision, so I didn't have to smell what was going on there. And I thought it was as much funny as scary and troubling. It to me, it was a very weird movie to watch because I'd heard about it for years, obviously. Like I said, I had a friend who nicknamed his sister Stripe because she was such a bitch that he decided that she was Stripe. So I knew there was that level of evil and badness and all of that in this. But it just didn't land with me, and I think that's probably because, I'm the wrong age. It's like the prequels to Star Wars. If you were 9, 10, 11 years old when the prequels came out, you loved them. I was 14 when Star Wars came out. The prequels, I was an adult, and I look at them and go, not as good.
There's your fucking abortions.
But I don't say that people who saw it when they were 9 and went, wow, are wrong. I mean, I saw the original Star Wars when I was 14 and I went, wow. And there's probably people today who would watch it at age 50 or 60 if they've never seen it. How did that happen? But maybe it did. And they might go, kind of a formulaic story, don't you think? Well, yeah, but so yeah, I don't begrudge anybody who likes this. I mean, I'll do a Gary there and say, hey, if you like it, that's fantastic. I might like the sequel better since everybody else seems to. So I'd give it a shot, but this one I probably won't watch again.
You will. I think you will.
I almost feel like we have to do the sequel in the next few months just to see Red Shirt's take on it. I think we'll do it in the next few months.
Yeah. That'd be a good Valentine's Day film.
Oh, you know what? I think that's a great idea. Let's do it. Seriously, let's do it.
Show number 1.
Let's do it. I think that's a great idea. All right, Red Shirt. Well, thank you for keeping it real. And now the man who really is the man of the stream. Let's be fair here. Tom.
Yeah, sorry I dominated so much. But
dude, I love that.
You're looking for the Biden.
No one here is complaining.
It's your movie.
We love this. We love hearing you geek out. I love, dude. I feel your energy. Like it's like you're the ultimate warrior of movies. I feel your excitement. I feed off on the energy of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of those movies for me. I mean, if not the movie for me that I probably know the most about, and cannot get enough about. I don't know about the not being toxic thing. Because if you think about it, this movie is partially responsible for PG-13. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's a huge
if you think about it. So just in that fact alone, between the Santa Claus story, I mean, I think there's an argument to be made, at least, that it's a 6 or 7 on the toxicity scale, especially compared to the second film. Because like Red Shirt's right. The answer to both your questions is yes. You're supposed to laugh and be scared by it. But I think I think there were some people who were just a little too confused of whether or not it was supposed to be funny at all. And I think they answered that question a little bit more with the second film, and I think that's why I think you'll enjoy it. But because that's more of a straightforward comedy. But no, this movie for some reason, just besides the things that I've already said, it's a 10 out of 10. Perfect film for me. I love it. Love the effects. Everything about it is one of the reasons why I love movies. Little rubber monsters. I love the fantasy elements of it. Yeah, it's just one of those movies that's stuck with me my whole life. And I mean, I'm sure I made my parents hate it from how many times I watched it as a child. Because this was just one of those movies. Yes, I had it recorded off of HBO, and I had the actual tape. And actually, I think I went through a few tapes of this, to be honest with you, before the DVD finally hit. And I still got two, like I got a Blu-ray and a 4K of it now still, and I've gotten rid of my DVDs over the years. But yeah.
Will that be out there?
Oh yeah, I could go on forever. I got more.
I know.
More things that we didn't
Are
even
we gonna
get
have
to,
like an
but-
after show with Tom
Yeah,
talking Gremlins?
No, I don't want to drag this out any longer. We already have. This is almost 3
No, you
hours.
do. No, we enjoyed it. No, this is awesome. This is a lot of fun.
It's been fucking awesome. So, okay, guys, we got a lot of new subs tonight. We had a lot of new faces in the chat, and I hope you guys enjoy what you saw. And I really, really, really hope you come back for more.
Let us know if you want to see more. We'll show more.
We'll show more. We're gonna come more. And to
I got to
our
tell you,
usual
Tom's
loyal
happy if there's fisting with the puppets. He likes puppets being fisted.
to our usual and loyal suspects. I thank
Usually
you
we don't
for
have that
coming.
on the stream.
Maybe not on your stream.
To our usual suspects, I thank you for your continued support, and thank you for all the super chats as well. Thank you guys. So we're gonna take next week off because it's the day after Christmas Day, but we'll be back January 2nd. And we are gonna be covering, we have not ever done this movie, and this is one of those, how have you not done this one? We're gonna be talking the very first Rambo movie, First Blood, January 2nd, with X-Ray Girl. So it's going to be a very toxic time, January 2nd. So mark your calendars, same bat time, same bat channel, week off, come back January 2nd, Toxic Tuesday, First Blood, X-Ray Girl. It's going to be fucking wild. So, and 70s will be back, and the show will be even gayer. So more homoeroticness will be had. It's gonna be great.
I can't get any more gay.
You say that
I
now.
mean, I bet you could.
Don't sell yourself short, Gary.
How about- how
Yeah,
about
there's
3
so
more
much
inches
more you
gay?
could do.
I don't know. I'll work on it, guys. I'll work on it.
Like, I don't know if it's
Yep.
gay unless you like make eye contact while there's the blowjob. Blowjob's not that gay.
And my rule has always been very simple. It's not gay until you've done it more than once, and you have to enjoy it. And you got to make
Yes.
There's no sense in going off half-cocked.
Yeah, you got to maintain eye contact too.
Mark. So yes, thank you, Mark,
Wasn't me,
for
yeah.
amazing production as always. The visuals, you have done it again as per usual. You are the MVP of the show. I say that a lot, but it's true.
Had a lot of fun
yeah.
doing it. Yeah, thank you.
I'm very thankful. So I hope you guys had a great year on Toxic Tuesday 2024. It will continue.
Got
There'll be
over
more
100
Bond.
people watching here, man.
Yeah, this is the
We're up to like 125 or something,
hugest-
right?
Yeah, the hugest chat we've ever had for a Toxic Tuesday. So I thank you guys for that. I hope we can do that. I hope we can do it again for First Blood. It's gonna be great. So let's be even huger.
Jesus Christ.
Must be Tom.
I was just playing it for an underpin. You keep going.
Oh, is it you?
No.
I thought it was Mark doing
Oh,
it.
good. Anyways, next
You're being all speech like. I thought maybe you'd, whatever.
Sing it with President Biden's voice.
Comic shop. Yeah. Oh God. President Biden's voice. Yeah, comic shop talk Friday night. I'll be doing it on my channel, talking Christmas comics with the dudes. I'll have another video out this week, and I'll have another video or two out next week as well. And I'm gonna let these gentlemen plug their plugs on the way out. We'll start off with Mark.
Thank you, thank you. Yes. Oh, I love that. Oh, that made
Time
me
to
feel
turn the
special.
page.
So thanks everyone. Let me do we have any well I'll post it. I didn't say arcade tonight, so let me post my good old channel in. I just hit 1,000 subs, so check me out on Sunday Night Geekery, 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm also on Thursday night with Clobbering Times, Raquel and Clobby in the Clubhouse. Here's our Discord there for that. And just have a lot of fun hanging on this channel on Tuesday night. It's Toxic. I always know what day of the week it is. It's like it's time for Toxic Tuesday. That's all I know. So a lot of fun. And my channel, as you can see from my background, a lot of Star Trek, comic book, Star Wars. So we always talk about that on my show and do toy videos and reviews. And also, I'm selling a Doomsday ornament for Christmas. So let me put that link in here too. If you want to get a Doomsday machine, you can buy one for your Christmas tree. I'm not responsible for destruction of the planet, but here, let me show that. Do I have that link ready to show? Let me show that real quick here. Hold on. Let me post that link. Might as well. Shameless plug time.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
holidays.
Plug
Yeah.
it.
So if you want to
Plug
buy
it.
Doomsday, I shall plug. So here's the eBay link here. Let me show this. Yep. Sorry about that. I thought I had that ready. So here we go. Oh, I was already sharing it. That's why, I've been doing this for 3 years. I think it would have this all down. But so here's the Doomsday machine.
Oh yeah, I love that.
So if you want to get an ornament, a couple of people, Pope Metallic that's bought one, so that's headed out his way, and Max Redstone bought one. So we also got a much bigger version too. But that's the holiday ornament version. So that's on Fleabay, as I like to call it, and I just put the link in, or on my coffee link. So thanks everyone. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Go watch some good Christmas stuff, and don't watch Candy Cane Lane. Yeah, that's
Hey Mark, you could probably introduce that when people come over. Just tell them that was a stone you passed through your penis.
Well, that's how big you're saying I am. Wow, that's impressive.
Just the stone, not your
Your
penis.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yes,
it's like
this is a
giving
Christmas
birth.
tree ornament.
Has nothing
to do with bodily functions. It's a Christmas tree ornament. But yeah. So thanks everyone, and it was great hanging out with you guys tonight. We'll miss you next week, but everyone have a great holiday.
All right, Mark. Thank you, as always, sir, for everything you do for Toxic Tuesday. You have a merry, homoerotically great Christmas.
Oh, I forgot to show one more thing. Oh, I got to show that.
Plug it. Plug it.
Gremlin.
So
I want
put it in.
It's not far
all the way in, Mark.
Far along. Yeah, let me get my tab back here. Here we go.
Man, I love your big D.
Yeah, so this is 3D printing. This is 3D printing a Gremlin right now. So, but it's only about half. What is he, about halfway done now?
Oh, but, that's a mug. That's a mugwai.
Mugwai. Yeah, I should say mugwai. Yeah. I get the right terminology. But so I do a lot of 3D printing. So that's
dude.
So he's printing right now. Yep. So.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my.
Oh shit! It's turning Nick on.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Bonehead, we did a Toxic Tuesday on speed way back in the day. We did. Keanu Reeves, man.
You want a toxic film? Blade Runner.
We still haven't done Bill. Oh, we haven't done Blade Runner. We also haven't done Bill and
You need
Ted.
to do that, and then you'll see me nerd out.
I hiccup.
Are you okay, Nick? Jesus Christ, what was
He's
that?
swallowed a bug.
He swallowed a bug.
Nick's gonna die. That's all.
He swallowed a fly. Do you think he'll die?
I'm gonna die
If Nick
again.
doesn't get 100 likes in the next hour, he's gonna die.
Go and get a glass of water.
I am the Kenny of my own streams. I die like Kenny does in South Park. It's facts of life. But Mark, thank you for plugging your plugs. It's been good. May we ride it to 2024 long, hard, and strong.
We shall.
And Bruce, I want you to plug your plug on the way out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my YouTube channel's been around for a few years. And if you like tabletop games, we talk about it a lot over there. In fact, Thursday nights, I get about 5 of my friends, actually 4 right now. We've got one guy going through some medical issues. but we got the 5 of us that talk about it. About 84 years of Dungeon Master experience for various games and various editions of the games over the last 40 years. And we talk about this stuff because this is what we do. It's our hobby. You know, something we really enjoy. And I find that a lot of people don't do hobbies anymore. And I really want to try to turn people on to finding something they love that they can get into, be it model trains or miniatures or war games or something you can share with your kids, something that you can actually physically put your hands on and have an afternoon with the kids or grandkids and do fun stuff with. Saturdays, not this coming Saturday because of the holiday, but Saturdays I run a tabletop of the games we play. Usually I have about 6 to 8 players. One of the tables is a Pathfinder game. The other is a homebrew game that I'm building myself, much like what Steve Jobs did with a computer back in the 1974-76 era. Building your own. Yeah, we have these other ones, but I want to build my own. So that's what I'm doing. And I hope that no matter what you get out of this, I hope that you have something in your life that brings you a lot of happiness. You could be on YouTube, complain about politics or crappy movies from a franchise you used to love, or you could instead focus on really things that make you happy, like painting miniatures or watching episodes of Star Trek Continues. The good stuff. Thanks, Nick, for letting me be part of this wonderful channel on your Tuesday nights.
Oh, thank you, Bruce. It's so romantic. It's so sweet. Nah, for real though, dude. It's been pleasuring, literally and figuratively. And I hope that we have a lot more of that said pleasuring come 2024. I'm sure your hands will get dirty, and I'll be there to watch it all happen. So thank you, sir. All right. And then we got Dustin.
Keto Simple is my channel. I've been doing a lot of lives lately. I had a live tonight with my wife. She was late to our own live, but that's fine. I have another live on Thursday on my channel. I'm also covering for Brian because he's having back surgery, so everyone keep him in your thoughts and all that stuff. I'm going to be covering the Rock and Roll Rowdies. If you're into metal, come check that out because I'm going to make them listen to some fun metal to see their reactions. That'll be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I'm on live on Saturday early morning, Sunday early morning. If you're early riser, come check it out. I've got more videos coming. Again, it's been a wonderful year hanging out with you guys. I look forward to 2024. I am not waiting to the new year to come again. So probably not going to wait till tomorrow, but
Christmas only comes once a year.
Oh, you know what? You know, and I'm not going to be Christmas.
But get a wee bit filthy tonight, lad.
Yes. I mean, you'll just want it in your butt, Gary. So, I got a lot of cool content, a lot of cool things planned for 2024, and let's build something cool. Let's grow and have a lot of fun, and let's take over the world.
I like that. Let's take over the world. I know one man who will put that thought in his butt. Gary.
It's a known fact. I don't know if it is.
What's coming? What do you got coming out in the next few days?
Well, let's see. TGIF, we haven't planned it out yet. It's a team thing that they do now. And I don't even know what Keith is doing Thursday. I've got to go look to find out. But I know that on Saturday, I'm not sure if we're going to do a show or not. Tom and I usually do a show that last weekend, but I hurt my knee. I crushed my knee and I couldn't do the show Saturday. So, but it's all fine now and I'm ready for this weekend. But with the holiday weekend, I just don't know if we're going to do anything, Tom. Are we?
I have ice cream to eat. Okay.
Oh my God. That's
And
for a
I'm gonna
straight answer, and I get a
kids
Biden.
there and ice cream. Scooby-Doo.
Ice cream. So no show this weekend.
Probably not.
I'll probably end up doing one of the other shows because there's a lot of movies I want to hit up on our Saturdays and TV shows. Monday for Christmas, I'm going to be doing a Christmas special with the movie "This Park Is Mine" or "The Park Is Mine" with Tommy Lee Jones. A veteran takes over the park, and it's one of the films that kind of inspired part of Vindicated Inc. So I'll be talking a lot about Vindicated Inc. because I'm trying to get the goal met so we can get Richard paid, and we'll see what happens. But past that, I'm focusing a lot on that stuff. And in fact, Mark, I sent you the links if you want to pop them up.
Just pop
share
them
the
in,
link in the chat. Yes, thank you very much. If you like, I'm just going to repeat what Chuck Dixon and Mike Barron said. This is unlike any other comic you're ever going to see. This is a straight up action thriller, the first ever military veteran action hero comic. And it's got a lot of violence in it, but it's not gratuitous. It's very realistic, down to earth, and gritty. And it deals with veteran issues at the same time because I like to support veterans because, I'm not the only one. I have a lot of friends who are veterans. But, and yeah, I do consider us part of Comic Gate because I'm conservative and I let my pro-patriot and conservative flag fly with my storytelling. But that doesn't mean I don't have people in the story that are leftists. They're in there, usually being killed by the character. They're bad guys. They are bad guys in real life too. But I don't know. I mean, that's what we're going to focus on is trying to get that, and that's why I'm trying to go on so many different shows to push this book because I think it's something that people will like.
And you know what? We will continue to push that in your butt.
That's right. And by the way, we also surpassed 8,000 this week.
Ooh, congratulations.
We're already almost up at, we're a little over 8,100 right now.
You're finally getting it up again because you had stalled for a while there.
I found a way to beat YouTube at their own game.
Good.
To beat them?
I use Google Ads.
Aha.
Ooh.
And
But
so
Google owns
they lose
YouTube.
money if it doesn't work. So
very
well,
sneaky.
Gerry, it's been good and fulfilling to have you back on Toxic Tuesday as of recent, and I hope that we get to shoot a giant.
I'm back
load of
for good
in
for now.
2024. So, like John Wick, I'm thinking you're back.
I think I'm back. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And then we got 6 for $20. Holy Christ. 6. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
I want that in my butt.
Thank you, 6. That is fucking amazing. Appreciate that 20. And I will make sure I treat the family to pizza this week just as you did this. Thank you.
Let's play this for
incredible.
6.
Yeah, Nick. Nick's a real name. Kind of guy you can drink a beer with. Kind of guy who doesn't mind if you puke in his car. Nick.
Nick, you'll be proud that the family and I are having pizza for Christmas Eve.
Oh, dude, that's amazing.
Keto pizza or regular pizza?
No, we're having regular pizza.
Chuck Norris would be proud, even if it was keto pizza. Chuck Norris would be proud. All right, last but not least, Tom, I want you to plug your Joe Biden plug on the way out. Try not to fall downstairs. And
I fall upstairs, ho boy.
Channel Surf also had a question that I feel like you'd be more fitted to answer since you
Did
are
you guys talk about the
Gremlins
clear
expert.
shot of the puppeteer that can see the Christmas tree when mine gets hand attacked? Yes, I saw that.
There you go.
Nobody
All right,
speaks nonsense like Joe Biden.
All right, Joe, could you go send yourself to get lubed up by Xi Jinping in China so I can have Tom back?
What?
Go back to China, get lubed up by Xi Jinping. He can put in your back door. And
I am Sleepy Joe. Everywhere I go, falling up the stairs, poop my underwear, gonna sniff some hair, and eat some ice cream. Everybody come along, it's time to do the thing. Oh, something, corn pop all the way. He's a bad dude, and he's not gonna get Christmas stuff today. Yeah. There you go. Merry Christmas.
I think you almost killed Dustin. he almost went off camera. I saw him just fall over to the side to throw up or something.
See,
you know where to find me. Midnight Sedge After Dark, Mead Radio, all the fun places.
You know where to find Tom, and you know where he comes. So thank you, Tom.
Where does he come?
Gary's back door.
Here's the thing, Keely. You don't understand. But besides the few girlfriends I've had in my life, it's always been dudes in my car. That's just the facts of life.
I know, like you were talking about how
you take the
people
bed.
thought you were gay.
Yeah. Well, I remember my old friend Ryan said, I was like, yeah, he's always talking about guys. He was always freaked out that I was talking about guys. And if people were wondering if he was like, you know, because there was always this stereotype that like holy right wingers like that. No, that dude was super far leftist as it gets, and he was saying that shit about me. So it wasn't an exclusive thought. Those people think like that both ways. But yeah, he was like really like weird out that I was always talking about dudes. And I don't know why. I was like, bro, just why can't you just be happy that I'm happy that your son's
I never
happy
thought
that
about
you're
that
with
because,
me?
like, even when I first met you, you were always trying, like, you know, doing the dudes worldwide thing, and I was just like,
yeah, dudes
dude
worldwide
loves dudes, man.
Oh, Dudes Worldwide is a great organization. I gotta bring.
Well,
that
there's
back.
another word for happy, Nick.
Yes, there is.
It starts with the same letter as my first name. Starts with
Girthy.
All right, chat. We're getting the
That's
hell
what
out of
she
here.
said.
Once again, we'll be back in 2 weeks, January 2nd, for Rambo First Blood with X-Ray Girl. So until then, this is goodbye, good fight, and good night.
That's too.
I'd like to show you something.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm
You have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
You're still here? It's over. Go home.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.